I freshly transmigrated into another world, standing in front of the saddest building I've ever seen in my life. Back home, I was living the dream. I ran a trendy guest house, had money in the bank, looked good, had girls around me. Life was sweet. Then boom, universe said, nah, and yeeted me into ancient China with absolutely nothing. Well, not nothing. I got a busted up and called, Cloud come in. Except nobody was coming. The sign was hanging crooked, missing a corner, and you could barely read the name. The place sat in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by wild grass and empty fields. Not a single building in sight. Just me, some weeds, and my broken dreams. Oh, and I also got a super system in my head. Sounds cool, right? Except it won't even turn on until I get a guest to check in. And who's walking through this wasteland? Nobody. I sat at the door from noon until sunset. Not one soul. I was about to lose all hope when I spotted someone in the distance. A real, living, breathing human being. I took off running toward him like my life depended on it. Because honestly, it did. Turns out, the guy was a scholar named Shun Mo, heading to the capital for exams. He'd taken a shortcut some woodcutter told him about, and now he was lost in the middle of nowhere too. Poor guy saw me sprinting at him full speed and thought I was a bandit. He panicked, turned around, and ran for his life. So naturally, I ran faster. He tripped and fell. I caught up, bent over, gasping for air. He's on the ground shaking, offering me his money, begging me not to kill him. I'm like, dude, I'm not a robber. I run a hotel. After we cleared up that little misunderstanding, I invited him to stay. He looked at my inn, the crumbling walls, the busted door, the spider webs connecting everything like nature's own decorations, and I could see him dying inside. I kept my arm around him real tight, just in case he got any ideas about leaving. I dragged him inside. Fallen leaves everywhere. Broken tables in the lobby. The whole place screamed, haunted house, not hospitality, but whatever. We made it to the front desk. I slapped down the guest register and told him to sign in. He picked up the pen, then asked the one question I was dreading. How much per night? My system chose that exact moment to speak up in my head. And when I heard the price, my face went pale. 5 silver taels, I mumbled. 5? Are you insane? He slammed the pen down. Normal inns charge like 20 to 50 copper coins. I was asking for 5 whole taels of silver in a place that looked like it lost a fight with time itself. He called it a scam shop. Honestly, fair. He tried to leave. I jumped in front of the door like a final boss. He looked at me, terrified. I looked at him, desperate. You're staying tonight, I said. You don't have a choice. Listen, I'm not proud of it. But when your only customer in the entire world tries to walk out, you do what you gotta do. Look, I'm not a bad guy. But the system literally set the room price at 5 silver taels and told me if I charge less, it won't count. No activation, no powers, no nothing. So yeah, I had to get a little aggressive with Shinemo. Sue me. The poor scholar looked at his skinny arms, looked at me, did the math, and wisely turned around to sign the guest book. Then I hit him with, pay first. He handed over the 5 taels with the expression of a man saying goodbye to his children. The second that silver touched my hand, ding. Super and system activated. Starter pack received, music to my ears. I instantly switched from scary innkeeper mode to friendly hotel manager mode. Threw my arm around Shun Mo like we were best buddies. Sorry about all that. We're totally legit. Stay as long as you want. His face said, I'd rather sleep with wolves. But his mouth said, sure, totally legit. I walked him upstairs. The staircase was making sounds like a dying animal with every step. Shinemo looked nervous, so I decided to reassure him. These stairs look old, but they're rock solid. Watch. I stomped hard on a step to prove my point. My foot went straight through it. We stared at each other. My leg was dangling through the broken step, like I was doing some kind of cursed yoga pose. Accident, I said. Total fluke, he nodded. We both tiptoed the rest of the way up. I opened a room for him, and a wave of mold smell slapped us both in the face. Even I flinched. The room had a bed, a table, 2 stools. That's it. 5-star luxury right there. After dropping him off, I went to the kitchen to make food. My entire inventory? A handful of rough rice, 1 strip of dried meat on the wall, and a single cabbage. Chef's choice tonight, folks, because there is no choice. While cooking, I finally checked out the system properly. My inn is level 1. 10 crappy rooms, a kitchen, a stable, a woodshed, all level 1. 0 staff. 5 upgrade points. There's also a shop where I can buy stuff, but everything costs a fortune. The cheap items are dozens of points, the expensive ones, tens of thousands. I'm sitting here with 5 points like a kid with pocket change at a luxury mall. Then I opened my starter pack. Got 1 employee, 100 pounds of rice, 30 cabbages, and 30 pounds of pork. Real generous, universe. Thanks. But the employee, now that was interesting. A guy named Panshur appeared out of thin air in my kitchen, bowed, and called me boss. I checked his stats and nearly choked. This dude is a peak first-rate martial artist. Knows something called Great Power Palm and Triple Kick, which also meant, oh great, this is a martial arts world. Swordsmen, kung fu fighters, people who can probably punch through walls. And me? I can barely punch through an argument. If Shin Mo had been a martial artist instead of a bookworm, he would have rearranged my face the moment I blocked that door. With my last 5 points, I browsed the shop. Everything was stupidly expensive, but there was a newbie discount, 90% off on staff. I spotted a cook with mid-level cooking skills, exactly 5 points after the discount. Sold. Because if I'm running a scam hotel, the least I can do is serve decent food. My new cook Xue Tao popped into existence, bowed, and got straight to work. The guy moved around the kitchen like he was born in it. Meanwhile, I'd been in there looking like a confused raccoon trying to open a jar. With cooking handled, I got to spend my remaining upgrade points. I had 5 left and big dreams on a tiny budget. First priority, the rooms. Because right now, my rooms were basically fancy closets that smell like regret. I dropped 1 point to upgrade them to level 2. Guests recover stamina and energy 40% faster. Not bad, but not enough. Dropped 2 more points for level 3, 60% faster recovery. Now we're talking. See, I used to run a successful guest house back in my old life. I know the game. You need a hook, something special that makes people come back. And since mine is located in the middle of absolutely nowhere, repeat customers are everything. Nobody's just passing by this place. If someone finds me, it's because God made a mistake with their GPS. I spent another point upgrading the kitchen to level 2, which boosts food taste by 40% and cooking speed by 40%. The system can improve how food tastes. That's basically cheating, and I am absolutely here for it. With a professional cook plus a boosted kitchen, dinner was ready fast, braised cured meat with cabbage. Only dish on the menu because that's literally all we had. I brought it upstairs myself. Knocked on Shin Mo's door all polite, like I hadn't just strong-armed him into staying an hour ago. He was sitting there looking like a hostage, which, okay, fair. He saw me standing there watching him and asked, "Did you poison the food?" What? No. Aaron treats guests like the Jade Emperor himself. Poisoning is for shady places. We would never, his eyes said, "You are the shady place," but he took a bite anyway. Then his face changed completely. Wait, this is actually amazing. He started going on about how the saltiness of the cured meat perfectly balanced with the sweetness of the cabbage, how the textures were layered, how it was restaurant-quality cooking. The man turned into a food critic right before my eyes. I stood there grinning like a proud parent at a school play. Our little inn is just as good as any big city restaurant, I said, puffing out my chest. Before he'd tasted the food, he would have laughed at that. Now, he couldn't argue. I told him we'd send up hot bath water too. Full service experience. Panshur carried up a massive wooden tub filled with steaming water like it weighed nothing. Didn't even wobble. Shin Mo's jaw nearly hit the floor. The scholar could tell Panshur was a serious martial artist just from watching him carry that tub. So now Shin Mo's brain was doing backflips. This dump of an inn in the middle of nowhere has a chef who cooks like a master, a staff member who's clearly a kung fu expert, and a creepy owner who chases people down roads. What kind of place, I asked this. He took his bath, relaxed, and passed out cold. Next morning, he woke up feeling like a completely new person. All the exhaustion from traveling? Gone. Totally refreshed. He couldn't figure out why he'd slept so well on such an ordinary-looking bed. That's my level 3 rooms doing the heavy lifting, baby. The man paid 5 taels for 1 night and got the best sleep of his entire life. Was it overpriced? Maybe. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Will he admit that? Never. Next morning, Shin Mo came downstairs with his bags packed, looking refreshed like he'd been reborn. Sleep well? I asked with my best hotel manager smile. Very comfortable, he admitted. He actually couldn't deny it. So I launched into my sales pitch about how our beds are handcrafted by masters, specially designed to eliminate fatigue and restore energy. Total nonsense, of course. It's just the level 3 room upgrade. But he was buying it because he literally felt the difference. Then I saw his bags and asked if he wanted breakfast. Is it free? Of course not. Goodbye. He didn't even ask the price. Just turned around and speed walked out like the building was on fire. The man was so traumatized by my pricing that the word, not free, triggered his flight response. I stood there watching him leave, kind of stunned. Business is tough, I mumbled. But here's the thing, I could have forced him to pay again. I'm not above it, we've established that. But I'm trying to build a real business here. Strong-arming every customer isn't sustainable. So instead, I sent Panshur to escort Shin Mo safely to the next town. Free of charge. Premium service. Kill them with kindness after you've already killed their wallet. Panshur came back that afternoon with intel. Turns out, Mayan sits on a hidden side road that branches off the main highway. 10 miles down this overgrown path hits the main road. Then another 10 miles gets you to the nearest town, a tiny county called Songyang with about 2,000 people. No other inns between here and there. Good news, zero competition. Bad news, the entrance to my road is hidden in some trees and basically invisible. So I'm the only hotel on this route, but nobody knows the route exists. Fantastic. I sent Panshur to clear the brush and weeds around the road entrance, make it more visible. He did both ends. Looked better. Still, a narrow dirt trail versus a wide main road. Nobody's choosing my path voluntarily. Then I waited. 3 days. 3 days I sat at my front door like a lost puppy, staring at the horizon, hoping to see a human being. Nothing. Not a single soul. My food supplies were shrinking every day. I started having dark thoughts like, what if I just send Panshur to the main road too? Grab people, if it comes down to it. I told myself, I'll do what I have to do. I was the innkeeper version of a desperate used car salesman. On the third evening, I gave up and told Panshur to close the gate. Time for bed. Another wasted day. Then, knock knock. I froze. Then I screamed, Pan SHI? The door. Open it now. My voice came out so high-pitched I barely recognized it. Panshur opened up and walked in with a woman. She was pretty, sharp features, pale skin, hair tied back in a ponytail, wearing a tight black outfit that screamed, I can kill you 17 different ways. And in her right hand, a sword. An actual sword. Yep, I thought. Definitely a martial arts world. But hey, a customer is a customer, even if she could slice me in half. Staying the night? I asked, smooth as butter. Yes, name, Lu Ro, Lu Ro. Literally means, gentle willow. She looked about as gentle as a thunderstorm. 5 taels per night, no bargaining. Slap. She tossed a 10-tael silver piece on the counter like it was pocket lint. Keep the change. I think I fell in love. Would you like dinner? First meal is free for guests. No. Cool, cool, cool. Panshur, take the lady upstairs. No chasing, no begging, no foot through the staircase moments. She just paid double without blinking. This is the kind of customer I need. Shin Mo could never. Boss, that woman is a martial artist, Panshur whispered to me after coming back downstairs. Yeah, no kidding. I was too busy caressing that 10-tael silver piece to care. She had a sword and was dressed like a ninja. Didn't exactly take a detective to figure that one out. She's injured. Now he had my attention. Badly. Pretty bad. Unsteady steps, short breathing, unstable energy flow. Most normal people would hear this and feel concern. Sympathy. Maybe worry. I clapped my hands with joy. That's amazing. I realized I was being too loud and dropped to a whisper. If she's seriously hurt, she'll need time to recover. She can't leave. That means she stays, and every day she stays, we get paid. I'd been losing sleep over this empty inn for days. Now I had a potential long-term guest, and all it cost her was some internal injuries. Win-win. Well, win for me anyway. I told my cook Shui Tao to prepare a special nutritious porridge for her in the morning. Pull out all the stops. We needed to keep this cash cow, valued guest, comfortable. That night, I went to sleep happy for the first time since arriving in this world. Then at midnight, bang 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 on the door. More customers? On the same night? What holiday is this? I threw on clothes and rushed to the front desk. Panshir opened the gate, and in walked not one, not two, but 8 people. 8. My eyes turned into dollar signs. In my head, these weren't humans. They were walking bags of silver. Then one of them shoved a drawing in my face. Have you seen this person? I looked at the portrait. It looked about 80% like Lu Ro. Then I looked at their weapons. Their murderous expressions. I haven't slept in 3 days because I've been chasing someone to kill them. Energy. Oh, they weren't customers. They were a hit squad. And Lu Ro was the target. Hey, I asked you a question. You deaf? I ignored the angry man and pulled Panshir close. These 8 guys, compared to you, weaker, Panshir said without hesitation. Perfect. That's all I needed to hear. Yeah, I've seen her. I told them, all casual. I even opened the guest book and pointed at her name. Lu Ro, written right there in ink. They went nuts. I knew she'd take this path. That woman thought she could run. They were celebrating like they'd already won. I tapped the counter with my fingers. So, you guys want to book rooms? Rooms? We're here to catch her. Which room is she in? Not staying? My smile vanished instantly. Then get out. You're not welcome here. Do you know who we are? Don't care. This is MYN. My turf. My rules. You're asking to die. Kill him. He's probably working with her. One of them drew his sword and lunged straight at me. Time slowed down. The blade was coming right for my face, and I just stood there. Not because I was brave. Because my brain hadn't caught up yet. I'm a regular guy. By the time I processed, oh, a sword is flying at my chest, I'd already be a kebab. But Panshir, beautiful, wonderful, underpaid Panshir, reached over and flicked the blade with one finger. One finger. The sword screamed, vibrated like a tuning fork, flew out of the guy's hand, and embedded itself in a wooden pillar behind him. Show-off could have done that half a second earlier, by the way. I nearly got a new face hole. He's a fighter too. Everyone attacked together. All 8 charged at once. Panshir walked into them like a bowling ball into pins. No weapon, just fists. None of them lasted more than a single exchange. In about 3 seconds, all 8 were on the ground groaning. A few tables and chairs got destroyed in the process. Those things were already on life support anyway. So honestly, the fighters just put them out of their misery. I stepped out from behind the counter, looked down at 8 moaning men scattered across my lobby floor, and smiled my warmest smile. So, you guys want to book rooms now. So what happens if we stay? One of the guys on the floor asked nervously. You'll be my honored guests, and I'll treat you like royalty. If you don't stay, you can crawl out that door, or Panshir can throw you out. Your choice. I pointed at Panshir, who was standing there like a statue of death. 8 pairs of eyes looked at him, remembered getting absolutely demolished 30 seconds ago, and made the smart decision. We'll stay. Wonderful. Line up, everyone. Time to register. They helped each other off the floor like a bunch of old men after a bad yoga class and limped to the counter. One by one, they gave me their names like obedient schoolchildren. Wang Hu. Nyo-san. Down the line. Now, proper INs are supposed to record all kinds of details. Name, hometown, occupation, where you're coming from, where you're going. The government checks these things. My registration process? Just a name. Not exactly by the book, but let's be real. Nothing about this inn is by the book. All right, 8 people, 5 taels each, 40 taels total. Who's paying? 5 taels. This dump isn't worth 5 taels. The best inn in Sonyang County charges 80 copper coins. You're charging 5 silver taels? I let them complain for about 3 seconds. Quiet. Don't want to pay? Then leave. But you said you'd stay? Are you playing games with me? Because I hate being played. Panshir. Here, SIR. Panshir's voice boomed like thunder. His killing aura washed over all 8 of them like an invisible tidal wave. Their faces went white faster than I could blink. We'll pay. Absolutely paying. We were just joking. Haha. Great prices. Very reasonable. They pooled their money together, counted out exactly 40 taels, and placed it on my counter with trembling hands. I scooped up that silver with a grin. Friendly reminder, no trouble in my inn. Panshir, take the guests upstairs. They followed Panshir like ducklings following a very scary mother duck. Once they were gone, I hugged my pile of silver and checked the system. And oh boy, the inn had leveled up. Level 2. Here's what changed. 5 extra regular rooms, 5 brand new medium rooms, and a cellar. I went exploring immediately. Second floor now had extra rooms, and wait, Is that a staircase going up? Since when does this building have a third floor? I climbed up and found 5 medium-grade rooms. These were twice the size of the regular ones, with better furniture, proper desks, even calligraphy sets. It was like going from economy to business class. Still not first class, but hey, progress. Then I found the cellar entrance hidden in a corner of the yard. Went down with a torch. Dark, stuffy, empty, about 50 square meters of nothing. But great for storing food, so I'll take it. With 46 upgrade points burning a hole in my pocket, I wanted to start spending immediately, but it was late. Tomorrow. That night, the 8 killers behaved themselves perfectly. Funny how polite people get after being beaten senseless. Next morning, I came down yawning. Shuetao had rice porridge and homemade pickled mushrooms waiting for me. Not bad at all for a guy working with forest ingredients. Panshir walked over with his morning report. All quiet. No trouble. But one of them left early this morning. Probably went to get backup. I slurped my porridge without a care in the world. Obviously, their target is sleeping upstairs. They can't beat Panshir, so they're calling for reinforcements. You know what? Good. This is way too quiet. As long as Lu Rou stays here, those guys won't leave either. And when their backup arrives, that's even more customers. I took another spoonful of porridge and smiled. Other innkeepers pray for peace and quiet. Me? I'm praying for escalation. More enemies chasing Lu Rou means more people needing rooms. This woman isn't just a guest. She's a customer magnet. Business model. Injured swordswoman attracts assassins. Assassins need beds. Beds cost 5 taels. It's the circle of profit. I sent Shuetao upstairs with porridge for Lu Rou. She said she'd come down to eat. Fair enough. She's paying 10 taels. She can eat wherever she wants. She came downstairs looking like a cold goddess who'd been slightly defrosted. Still icy, still barely talking, but a tiny bit of color had returned to her face. My level 3 rooms were doing their magic. Good morning, Miss Lu. I gave her my best customer service smile. Years in the hospitality business taught me one thing. The smile isn't about being happy, it's about making money. She nodded at me like I was furniture, then stared at Panshir for a long time. Sizing him up, probably. Martial arts people are weird like that. She sat down. Shuetao brought her porridge and pickled vegetables, and she started eating quietly. Then the 7 remaining thugs came clomping down the stairs like a herd of injured buffalo. One had left to get reinforcements, remember? 7 left. Good morning, gentlemen. Sleep well? They couldn't even lie. Actually, yeah, really well. You could see it annoyed them. They came here to kill someone, and instead got the best night's sleep of their lives. They were supposed to be angry, but their bodies were refreshed, their energy was full, and the only thing still hurting was where Panshir had rearranged their bone structure. They sat down at tables right next to Lu Rou, eyeing her like cats watching a mouse. But every time they glanced toward Panshir standing next to me like a human weapon, their brave little murder plans shriveled up and died. Lu Rou didn't even look at them, just ate her porridge like they were invisible. Ice Queen energy off the charts. I had Shuetao bring them food too. House rules. 1 free meal per night stayed. You skip dinner, so breakfast is on me. Lunch costs extra. And if you're only staying 1 night, check out by noon or I charge more. Their faces twisted up, but nobody dared argue. 5 taels a night is robbery, and we all knew it. Then they tasted the porridge. Wait. This is good. This is better than the family porridge shop, and they've been open for decades. This place is a total scam, but wow, this cook can cook. One by one, they forgot they were assassins and turned into food bloggers. They started chugging porridge like it was beer, bowls in the air, 0 table manners, full caveman mode. More. Me too, more. Each of them went through 4 or 5 bowls before they finally stopped. And even then they looked sad it was over. It's just rice porridge, guys. Rice porridge. But the level 2 kitchen boost plus Shuetao's skills turned simple porridge into a religious experience. Then they looked at Lu Rou and seemed to suddenly remember. Oh right, we're here to kill her. They'd gotten so caught up in breakfast they forgot their entire mission. Glad you enjoyed it, I said, standing up with a grin. Feel free to extend your stay. That message was for everyone. The 7 killers and Lu Rou. Stay? All of you. Stay forever. Keep paying me 5 taels a night while you play your little cat and mouse game under my roof. I went outside and looked at the building. Yep, definitely 3 floors now instead of 2. Good thing these guys all arrived after dark and hopefully didn't notice an entire floor magically appearing overnight. That would be an awkward conversation. I left Panshur in the yard doing morning exercises while keeping an eye on the guests. No fighting allowed inside. Take your drama outside or take it nowhere. Standing at the gate, I looked out at the massive empty wilderness stretching in every direction and had a thought. What if I turn this place into a resort? Think about it. In this world, inns are just food and beds. But what if mine offered relaxation, entertainment, leisure activities, like a vacation destination? Back in my old life, I ran a trendy guest house that people chose to visit. Location didn't matter if the experience was worth the trip. Sure, I'm in the middle of nowhere. But middle of nowhere is just exclusive private retreat with better marketing. I was standing at the gate, daydreaming about turning my dump into a luxury resort, when I heard footsteps behind me. Lou Rowe. My heart dropped. You're leaving? Because if she leaves, those 7 guys leave too. And if they all leave, I go back to staring at an empty road and talking to weeds. Lou Rowe isn't just a guest, she's my lucky cat. My entire business model walks out the door if she does. No, just getting fresh air. Oh, thank God. We stood there in silence, looking at the wilderness. Behind us in the courtyard, 7 pairs of eyes were glued to Lou Rowe like she was the last piece of meat at a buffet. They weren't going anywhere as long as she was here. After a long quiet moment, she asked, "Aren't you curious about who I am?" "Nope," I said without hesitation. "You paid. You're my guest. Your identity, your background, your drama, not my business." She actually looked surprised. I mean, obviously she's being hunted. Any normal innkeeper would have kicked her out to avoid trouble. But I'm not a normal innkeeper. I'm a broke innkeeper. There's a difference. Then she nodded toward Panshur. "Your employee isn't ordinary, is he?" Turns out she'd watched the whole fight from upstairs last night. Saw Panshur demolish 8 armed men like they were toddlers. She was genuinely shocked that a dump like mine had a top-tier martial artist working as a bellboy. Him? Just a regular employee. Knows a little bit of kung fu. A little bit. The man flicked a sword out of someone's hand with one finger, but sure, a little bit. "Does your service include protecting guests?" She glanced at the 7 guys in the yard. "Absolutely. Guest safety is our top priority. If people don't feel safe here, who's gonna stay?" She nodded. "I'll extend my stay. Music. Too. My ears." I practically floated over to the 7 thugs. "What about you guys? Staying? We need to discuss it." "Fine. Decide by noon." Back in my room, I checked the system. 50 tails in the bank, 51 upgrade points. Business was booming. But then I noticed the experience bar hadn't moved. 0 out of 30. Lou Rowe renewed, and I got nothing? System. Why no experience from her renewal? Each person only provides 1 experience point per 7 days. Why didn't you tell me this? You didn't ask. I swear this system has the personality of a passive-aggressive coworker. So I can't farm experience from the same guests. Great. At least they're still paying silver. I browsed the shop, but everything was stupidly expensive. Cheapest stuff was dozens of points. Fancy items were in the thousands. My 50 points felt like showing up to a car dealership with bus fare. I decided to save the money. Instead, I went on an upgrade spree. Dropped 12 points to push regular rooms from level 3 to level 5. Now they double stamina and energy recovery. Then 15 points to bring medium rooms from level 1 to level 5. Those triple recovery speed. My rooms are basically healing pods now. But then the system threw me a curveball. After level 5, rooms upgrade individually instead of all at once. Level 6 costs 16 points per room. And each room gets a specialization choice: soundproof rooms, deep sleep rooms, energy recovery rooms. So basically, upgrading past level 5 goes from reasonable to, are you kidding me, real fast. Classic system move. Give you a taste of power, then make everything 10 times more expensive. This thing would do great in the mobile gaming industry. I spent my remaining upgrade points like a kid in a candy store. 14 points into the kitchen, pushing it to level 5. Food now tastes twice as good and cooks twice as fast. Level 6 would unlock special recipes, but that costs 16 points, and I only had 10 left. Story of my life. Always one level short of something awesome. The medium rooms had some seriously cool upgrade paths I was drooling over. Healing rooms that fix injuries, rooms that restore internal energy for martial artists, mood recovery rooms. Basically spa treatments while you sleep. Martial arts people would go absolutely crazy for this stuff. I filed that away under future money printing ideas. At lunchtime, Lu Ro came downstairs and Pan Shi stood beside her table like a five-star waiter. She looked a little stunned seeing a top-tier fighter playing server, but recovered quickly. What do you have? Rice. Cabbage stew with meat. Mushroom soup. Coldwood ear salad. That's it. That's it. For items. One of each. The most limited menu in the history of restaurants. She ordered everything, which made my heart sing because I hadn't told her the prices yet. Then the 7 thugs walked in. 2 of them were staying, 5 were leaving. They couldn't afford my rates. Only 2? In one room? My smile dropped faster than their morale last night. Fine. 1 room. Everyone else, pack up and get out. The 5 leaving guys didn't argue. But before heading out, all 7 sat down for lunch. One of them asked about the menu and prices. Time to shine. Rice. 1 tael per person, unlimited refills. Cabbage stew with meat. 3 taels. Mushroom soup and coldwood ear salad. 500 coins each. Their eyelids twitched. Their mouths spasmed. I could practically hear their wallets crying. In a normal city restaurant, an entire table of food costs 2 or 3 taels. I was charging 1 tael just for rice. Lu Ro heard the prices too. She'd ordered without asking, and I could feel her mentally adding me to some kind of criminal watch list. But nobody left. Lu Ro couldn't leave because of her injuries. The thugs couldn't leave because of Lu Ro, and I was standing behind my counter grinning because nobody could leave. The 7 guys pooled their money and ordered 1 cabbage stew to share among all of them. 1 dish. For 7 people. Just the stew? Our mushroom soup is really fresh. The wood ear salad is super refreshing. You sure? Just the stew. They wanted more. They just couldn't afford it. Being hunted and broke. Rough day for those guys. Then Pan Shi brought out Lu Ro's food, and the whole room changed. The smell of braised meat floated through the hall like a spell. 7 heads turned simultaneously. 7 throats swallowed at the same time. Lu Ro picked up a piece of meat. It was so tender it wobbled like jelly on her chopsticks. She put it in her mouth, and her Ice Queen mask cracked for the first time. The flavor exploded. Rich, soft, melt in your mouth perfect. The cabbage had soaked up all the juices, each leaf glistening like jade, somehow tasting even better than the meat. She looked toward the kitchen, then at me sitting behind the counter doing absolutely nothing, and I could see the gears turning in her head. This morning she thought the porridge was the chef's ceiling. Now she realized my cook was operating at top city restaurant level in a shack in the middle of nowhere. And the best part? I watched her expression shift from, "This is a scam," to, "Okay, this might actually be worth it." That, my friends, is what we call converting a skeptic. 1 bite at a time. Lu Ro's appetite went through the roof. The woman who looked like she survived on ice and silence was going to town on that food like she hadn't eaten in weeks. Chopsticks never stopped moving. The 7 guys at the next table were watching her eat and literally drooling. They'd forgotten they were supposed to kill her. Hard to think about murder when your stomach is screaming. Where's our food? I'm dying over here. My stomach worms are staging a revolution. Shill. Keep it down, or we'll get beat up again. The food wasn't even late. My level 5 kitchen makes Shui Tao cook at double speed. These guys were just so hungry that every second felt like an hour. Pan Shi brought out their order. 1 bowl of cabbage stew. 7 bowls of rice. 7 grown men. 1 dish. What happened next was pure nature documentary. 7 wolves, 1 carcass. They lunged at that stew like their lives depended on it, shoveling meat and cabbage into their bowls, stuffing their faces until their cheeks bulged like chipmunks. This is incredible. I've been alive 35 years and never tasted anything this good. Hey, stop taking all the meat. Everyone calm down. And, did you just take the last piece? 1 minute. That's all it took. The bowl was empty. They'd licked it clean. Not a drop of sauce left. 7 men staring at an empty dish, then glaring at each other, each blaming the others for eating too much. They wanted to order more. Their wallets said no. So they just ate plain rice, 4 or 5 bowls each, because even my rice tastes amazing now. Martial artists have big appetites, but eating 5 bowls of plain white rice while the ghost of incredible stew haunts your taste buds? That's a special kind of suffering. I watched this whole circus from behind my counter and got hungry. Pan Shi, tell Shui Tao to make me a plate too. And you know what? It was that good. I've eaten at plenty of fancy restaurants in my previous life. Shui Tao's cooking matched all of them. And he's only a mid-level chef with a level 5 kitchen. If I upgrade either one, the food might actually make people cry. After lunch, Lu Ro went back upstairs. 2 thugs followed her like obedient shadows. The other 5 left the inn but camped outside nearby. As long as they weren't blocking my door and scaring away potential customers, all 0 of them, I didn't care. I went upstairs for a nap. Woke up 2 hours later. Didn't want to get up. No job to go to. No TV. No phone. No internet. Just me, a moldy ceiling, and the endless void of boredom. I need to build that resort soon or I'm going to lose my mind. But resorts need money. Land, buildings, decorations, all of it costs silver I don't have. I can't just sit here waiting for customers to magically stumble onto my hidden dirt road in the middle of nowhere. Then it hit me. Advertising. I'll go advertise in town. 2 seconds of excitement. Then reality punched me. The nearest town, Songyang County, is 20 miles away. Who's going to travel 20 miles for a meal? This isn't the modern world with cars. A round trip of 40 miles takes most people an entire day on foot. I slumped back down, then shot right back up. Delivery. I'll do delivery. If customers won't come to me, I'll bring the food to them. I called Panshur over. How fast can you get to Songyang County? Less than half an hour. Not bad. Can you go faster? Light body martial arts isn't my specialty. A master of that style could do it in 20 minutes. Someone with top-tier movement skills? Maybe 10 minutes to cover 20 miles. That's faster than most delivery apps in my old world. And no traffic. Ancient martial arts food delivery service. It's insane. It's impractical. It's absolutely going to work. Why is dinner just porridge? One of the 2 remaining thugs yelled at me. Free meals are porridge. Want something better? Pay extra? You didn't tell us that. You didn't ask. He glared at me like he wanted to set me on fire with his eyes. But with Panshur standing right there, the most dangerous thing he could do was chew aggressively. These 2 had experienced lunch. They'd tasted heaven in a bowl. They spent the whole afternoon dreaming about dinner. Then Panshur brought them 2 bowls of plain rice porridge and some pickled vegetables. The disappointment on their faces was almost artistic. Next morning, right around noon, I heard hoofbeats outside. Here we go, the reinforcements had arrived. A group marched into my inn like they owned the place. The original guys, the 5 who'd been sleeping outside, and their big gun, an old man. An elder from whatever martial arts sect these clowns belonged to. One of the guys, the same guy who was whispering and tiptoeing around yesterday, slammed his sword on my counter. Cut the crap. You know why we're here. Stay out of our way or we'll demolish this inn. I looked at him. Yesterday this man was scared to breathe too loud near Panshur. Now he's got Grandpa behind him, and suddenly he's tough? That's not courage. That's borrowed confidence with an expiration date. So you're not eating or staying? I said, my smile fading. Then get out. No loitering. The tough guy ignored me and turned to the old man with a suck-up grin. Elder Wu, the woman is upstairs. We've been watching her. Elder Wu nodded like a king acknowledging a peasant and walked toward the stairs without even looking at me. He made it exactly 1 step before Panshur appeared in front of him like a wall. You dare block me? The old man looked at Panshur like he was a joke. I've traveled the martial world for decades. No one stops Wu Changshou. Not a famous master, and certainly not an inn waiter. Throw him out, I said from behind the counter. Panshur's hand shot out like lightning. Elder Wu dodged, credit to him, and threw a counterattack. Panshur dodged that effortlessly, grabbed the old man's clothes. And when Wu tried to palm strike Panshur's stomach, Panshur met it with his own palm. Boom. A shockwave rippled through the air. Elder Wu's face went red. His arm? Broken. 1 exchange. Done. The old man's eyes went wide with pure disbelief. He, an elder, a veteran fighter, just lost to a hotel employee. Before he could process this, he was airborne. Panshur launched him like a human cannonball straight toward the front door. As he flew through the air, I made sure to give him a nice little smile. You know, for the customer experience. He landed right at the entrance. Perfect aim. Not 1 inch off. Dead silence. 8 disciples stood frozen, mouths hanging open. Their elder, the guy who was supposed to solve everything, had just been yeeted out of a rundown inn by the bellboy. Up in the corner of the staircase, Lu Ro was watching too. She'd been ready for a fight to the death when she heard Elder Wu arrive. She didn't fully trust we protect our guests, promise. Fair enough given our first impression. But watching Panshur casually break an elder's arm and throw him out the door like yesterday's trash, her face was pure shock. Apparently, this Elder Wu was from something called the Blood Shadow sect, had first-rate initial-level strength and years of combat experience. Lu Ro had actually expected Panshur to lose. Instead, Panshur won so cleanly, it was almost rude. I looked at the 8 remaining disciples. You leaving on your own, or do I need Panshur to help? They practically trampled each other running out. Outside, 2 of them scrambled to pick up Elder Wu. Are you okay, Elder? I'm fine, he growled, looking like he'd swallowed a family of wasps. His body would heal. His ego? That was going to need a lot longer. Outside my inn, Elder Wu was having a team meeting. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught enough to be entertained. Why didn't you tell me the waiter was that strong? He yelled at his disciples. We didn't know he could beat you. Elder, are you saying I'm weak? No, sir. Never, sir. Classic middle management energy. Gets destroyed, blames everyone else. Then I heard one of them suggest the dumbest plan of the day. What if we distract Panshur and you grab the innkeeper? He looks like a regular guy. Control him, and the waiter surrenders. Elder Wu nearly bit the kid's head off. Are you trying to get me killed? The waiter is first-rate level. You think the boss doesn't have skills? Why would a top fighter take orders from some weakling? That innkeeper is obviously a hidden master. I almost choked. Me? A hidden master? I can barely open a jar. The most dangerous thing I've ever done is chase Shin Imo down a dirt road. But sure, Elder Wu, I'm totally a secret kung fu grandmaster who chose to disguise himself as a broke innkeeper in the middle of nowhere. Very logical. His disciples bought it completely. Of course, Elder. We were foolish, I yelled out from behind my counter. Hey, if you're not staying, move along. You're blocking my business. What business? I haven't had a walk-in customer in days. But it sounded professional. Elder Wu came back inside, and the change in attitude was beautiful. 5 minutes ago, he walked in like he owned the place. Now, we'd like to stay, please, and maybe get some food. If that's okay. The man thought I was a hidden martial arts legend. I could see it in his eyes. Every time I moved, he was probably analyzing my technique. When I scratched my nose, he was probably thinking, what devastating style is that? Welcome. How many rooms? How long? We have regular rooms and medium rooms. He looked confused by my enthusiasm. The guy who just had his elder thrown out the front door was now doing a sales pitch with a big goofy grin. I could tell his brain was short-circuiting. That woman, what room is she in? Regular room. I'll take a regular room. Right next to hers. Are you sure you don't want the medium room? I can tell you're a man of distinction. A man of class. The medium room is bigger, better furniture, much more suited to someone of your stature. I laid it on thick. Really thick. He stared at me like I was an alien. Inside his head, he was probably thinking, is this really a hidden master? He acts like a used car salesman. Then he'd look at Panshur standing there like a Terminator and think, no, definitely a hidden master, just the regular room. Okay, fine. How many of you are staying? Just me. Just you? I pointed at the 8 disciples. What about them? They'll sleep outside. He said it casually, like it was normal. 8 grown men exchanged looks of pure misery. Sleeping outside in the wilderness, mosquitoes, cold, damp, possibly wild animals, while their elder sleeps in a cozy level 5 room that doubles his energy recovery. Leadership goals. Their faces crumbled, but nobody dared argue. Yes, elder, so let me do the math. I got Lu Ro paying 5 taels a night. 2 thugs sharing a room for 5 taels. And now Elder Wu for another 5 taels. That's 15 taels a day while 8 guys camp outside my door for free like the world's saddest security team. Not great, but not bad for an inn that most people don't even know exists. Only one person staying? I was crushed. I thought Grandpa would treat the whole squad. Instead, 8 disciples get to sleep outside with the mosquitoes while Elder Wu gets the VIP treatment. Some leader. Name, Wu Changshou. Wu Changshou. Literally means, long life Wu. Ironic, considering Panshur almost shortened that life considerably about 5 minutes ago. He put down 5 taels for the room, then slapped a 10-tael silver piece on the counter. Give me everything good you've got. I picked up the silver, bounced it in my hand, and smiled. 10 taels won't cover everything. Won't cover it? How expensive is your food? A little pricey, I said casually, but absolutely worth it. Don't believe me? Ask your boys. 8 heads nodded immediately. They could trash talk Mayan all day, but they couldn't deny the food was incredible. Wu slapped down another 10 taels. Fine. Make 20 taels worth. Now that's the energy I like. Shui Tao went to work. Level 5 kitchen pumping at double speed. Dishes were ready in minutes. Pan Shi carried them out on a tray, and I watched Elder Wu's eyelid twitch when he saw a martial arts master serving food like a waiter. Then the sound started. Gulp, gulp, gulp. 8 disciples, staring at the food, swallowing so hard you could hear it across the room. Look at yourselves, Wu hissed. Were you starving ghosts in your past lives? Show some dignity. They tried to look composed. Failed completely. Their eyes were locked on those dishes like wolves watching a wounded deer. Nobody dared eat before the elder. Wu picked up his chopsticks with dramatic authority. Let me see what all the fuss is about. He bit into a piece of cured meat. It burst with flavor. His eyes lit up like lanterns. The man had traveled the world, eaten at the best restaurants in major cities, and this random shack in the wilderness just matched all of them. While Wu was having his food awakening, the 8 disciples attacked. Chopsticks became blurs. Cheeks inflated like balloons. The big bowl of cabbage stew vanished in seconds. You animals. Save some for me. 20 taels got them 9 bowls of rice, 2 bowls of cabbage stew, and 2 plates of stir-fried pork with cabbage. Sounds like a lot. Not for 9 martial artists who eat like they're training for competitive eating championships. Food disappeared like magic. Wu was furious. He'd paid 20 taels and barely got 6 bites because his disciples inhaled everything. You eat like a pack of wild dogs. More cabbage stew. 2 more, he shouted at me. Coming right up. 6 more taels. Kaching. This old man was a gold mine. This time, Wu pulled rank. I eat first. Nobody touches the chopsticks until I'm done. 8 pairs of sad puppy eyes watched their elder eat slowly, savoring every bite, while they sat there drooling. He finally put down his bowl, satisfied, and the disciples lunged at the remains like piranhas. Wu opened his mouth to scold them again, then remembered he'd been just as wild earlier and quietly shut it. Then footsteps on the stairs. Lu Rou came down. Wu's face went cold instantly. All that happy food energy gone. He stared at her with pure murder in his eyes. She sat down like he didn't exist. Ordered stir-fry and mushroom soup like it was a regular Tuesday. Pan Shi delivered her food and walked away. The second he stepped back, Wu stood up and glared at Lu Rou. Why did you cripple my son? His voice was shaking. Teeth clenched. Eyes burning. Ask your son what he did, Lu Rou said. Cool as ice. Not even looking up from her food. I don't care what he did. He's my only son. You must die. And there I was, behind my counter, watching my customers threaten to kill each other over dinner. Just another normal day at my totally legitimate, not at all a scam inn. Go ahead, do it right now, Lu Rou said to Wu, calm as a frozen lake. Wu nearly exploded. He was about to lunge at her when he caught Pan Shi standing nearby like a silent promise of violence. His rage deflated like a sad balloon. No fighting in my inn, I reminded him from behind the counter. Just casually, like I was announcing a lunch special. Then things got dramatic. Lu Rou dropped the truth bomb. Wu's precious son was a bully who harassed people, abused his power, and did terrible things because Daddy was a sect elder. She said she went easy on him. Wu lost it. My son is righteous. He has a heroic spirit. You're lying. Lu Rou looked at him like he'd just said the earth was flat, checked to make sure he was serious, and shook her head. Ask your own disciples. Wu spun around to his 8 guys. Every single one suddenly became very interested in their rice bowls. Nyo-san, speak. The poor guy trembled like a leaf. I don't really hang out with your son much, elder. Not sure. Wang Hu, you tell me. You're closest to my boy. Wang Hu forced out the ugliest smile I've ever seen and said, your son is totally righteous. A role model. This woman is lying. The other 7 dropped their heads even lower. You could practically hear their internal screaming. Here's what actually happened, and I pieced this together from the conversation. Wu's son was a spoiled brat who never trained properly, spent his days bullying people in town, and one day tried to harass a woman on the street. Lu Rou happened to walk by, beat him senseless, and, let's just say she permanently removed his ability to continue the Wu family line. No wonder Wu wanted her dead. His only son, his late-in-life baby boy, now permanently out of commission. Did the son deserve it? From what I could tell, absolutely. Did Wu know his son was trash? Absolutely not. Classic case of a parent whose kid is an angel at home and a demon everywhere else. Wu turned back to Lu Ro. I'll wait. The second you leave this inn, I'll tear you apart. She kept eating like he was background noise. That made him even angrier. Then he tried a different approach. He turned to me. I am Elder Wu Changsho of the Blood Shadow sect. This woman destroyed my only son. Let me handle her. Don't interfere. I'll reward you generously. Lu Ro's chopsticks froze midair. She didn't look at me, but I could feel her holding her breath. This was the moment of truth. Would the greedy innkeeper who charges 5 taels for a dump sell her out for a bribe? Generous reward? That does sound tempting, I said. Wu's eyes lit up. Lu Ro's heart probably stopped. But I'm a man of principle. I let that hang in the air for a second. Anyone who checks into my inn gets protection. That's the deal. I don't care about your grudge. I don't care about your sect. I don't care about your son. Inside these walls, my guests don't get touched. Sort out your drama after you leave. You'd risk making an enemy of the Blood Shadow sect? Your waiter is strong, but he's one man. We can send dozens of fighters. Oh, so now we're doing threats? Cute. Threaten me? I smiled. Go ahead, send your people. But unless you kill Pan Sure on the spot, which you can't, he'll become your worst nightmare. He'll hunt down every member of your Blood Shadow sect one by one in the dark. You'll spend the rest of your lives sleeping with one eye open. I have no idea if Pan Sure could actually do any of that. But we didn't know that either. He looked at Pan Sure, tried to calculate whether he could take him out in one shot, and the answer written on his face was a big fat no. Bluff? Maybe. But when you've got a human weapon standing behind you, bluffs hit different. My threat worked beautifully. Wu did the math in his head. Pan Sure is at least 2 levels above him, meaning even if the entire Blood Shadow sect surrounded Pan Sure, he could fight his way out. And then what? A vengeful top-tier assassin picking off their members one by one from the shadows? Nobody wants that. Wu turned to Lu Ro with his best villain face. I'll let you live a few more days. Translation. I can't do anything right now, and I'm very angry about it. He stormed upstairs. His 8 disciples shoved food into their mouths and sprinted out of the inn like the building was on fire. Back to mosquito duty. The second Wu was gone, I pounced on the opportunity. Miss Lu, wouldn't you like to upgrade? 3rd floor rooms are bigger, quieter, way more comfortable. Only 10 taels a night. Only 10 taels? You think that's cheap? For the quality? It's practically a steal. Plus, no annoying neighbors. I nodded toward the stairs where Wu had just disappeared. That sold her. How many rooms on the 3rd floor? 5. I'll take all of them. All 5. She pulled out a 1,000 TEL bank note and slapped it on my counter like it was pocket change. I picked up that note and stared at it. Then stared at her. Then back at the note. This woman wasn't just a guest. She wasn't just a lucky cat. She was the god of wealth walking around in a black outfit with a sword. Keep the change as deposit, she said. And then, she smiled. First time I'd seen her smile. Nearly knocked me off my chair. 1,000 taels. 1,000. I'd been stressing about cabbage money 3 days ago. Pan Sure escorted her upstairs, and I gave the order. 3rd floor is Lu Ro's. Nobody else goes up there. Nobody. About 30 seconds later, Wu came stomping downstairs like an angry old elephant. You said she was in the room next to mine. Why is she on the 3rd floor now? She upgraded. Better room, better experience. Customer's choice. I want to move to the 3rd floor too. Sorry, all 5 rooms are booked. Miss Lu rented the entire floor. I'll pay double. Can't help you. I'm a man of principle. His face. If looks could kill, I'd have died 17 times. But he couldn't touch me. Not with Pan Sure right there. So he just stood there, rage vibrating, before stomping back upstairs. I maintained my customer service smile the entire time. Professional to the end. That night, everything was quiet. Lu Ro stayed in her room. Wu stayed in his. The 8 disciples camped outside like sad little guard dogs. But I'm not stupid. I told Pan Sure to keep watch overnight. Sure enough, middle of the night, Wu tried to sneak up to the 3rd floor. Pan Sure caught him at the stairs like a security guard catching a shoplifter. Just going for a walk, Wu said. Couldn't sleep. Sure, buddy. A midnight stroll. Up the stairs. Toward the woman you've sworn to kill. Totally innocent. Pan Sure blocked him and sent him back. No violence. Just a wall of absolutely not. Next morning, Wu came downstairs with a face like he'd been sucking lemons all night. Good morning, Elder Wu. Sleep well? Oomph. He ignored me completely. Not even a glance. I kept smiling. That's the hospitality business, baby. You smile at people who love you, and you smile at people who want to strangle you. The smile never changes. Only the profit margin does. 3 days of nothing. Absolutely nothing. Lu Ro stayed on the third floor like a princess in a tower. Wu tried to sneak upstairs every single night like a creepy old ninja, and Pan Sure caught him every single time. The 8 disciples. Living outside like homeless guard dogs, sleeping in the wild, getting eaten by mosquitoes, only allowed inside for meals. Every time they came in, they looked at the warm inn with the desperate eyes of abandoned puppies. Meanwhile, I was squatting at my front door every day, staring at the empty horizon, begging the universe to send me one new person. I needed fresh guests for experience points. No experience, no level up. No level up, no new features. I was stuck. 3 days. Not a single human being. Then, hoofbeats. I perked up like a dog hearing a treat bag. 15 riders, coming down the narrow path in perfect formation. Expert horsemen, clearly skilled. My excitement lasted about 2 seconds before reality kicked in. It was mid-afternoon. Too late for lunch, too early for bed. They'd probably just ride past. But they stopped. Right at my door. The leader pulled out a portrait and showed it to me. Seen this person? I looked at the picture and my stomach dropped. It was Lu Ro, an even better drawing than the Blood Shadow Sect's version. High definition wanted poster. More people after Lu Ro? How many enemies does this woman have? Before I could decide what to say, one of the Blood Shadow disciples ran over like an excited puppy and ruined everything. She's inside. You're here to kill her too, right? Great. We can't beat the inn's waiter, but with you guys, we can totally take him down. And the leader's sword moved so fast I barely saw it. 1 second the disciple was talking. Next second, blade across the throat. Done. Kill them all, the leader said calmly. His riders dismounted and attacked the remaining Blood Shadow disciples without hesitation. No warning, no negotiation, just violence. I stood there frozen. My brain was buffering. Pan Sure appeared next to me instantly, pulling me behind him. Stay back, boss. Wu Changshu came charging out of the inn screaming about who dared attack his people. The lead rider laughed, leaped at Wu like an eagle, and the two of them started fighting. Wu blocked, the rider countered, Wu shifted, the rider adapted. Over 10 moves in the blink of an eye. Who's stronger? I whispered to Pan Sure, having finally rebooted my brain. Equal to Wu Changshu. That meant this mystery rider was also first-rate level. And he'd brought 15 friends. Then it clicked. These people weren't here to kill Lu Ro. They were here to rescue her. That's why they went berserk when the Blood Shadow idiot started bragging about killing her. The Blood Shadow guy saw riders with a portrait and assumed, oh cool, more assassins like us. Classic case of not reading the room. To be fair, I made the same mistake for about 3 seconds. But this also meant Lu Ro's background was way bigger than I thought. I already knew she was rich, a 1,000-tael banknote like it was pocket change. Now she had a personal rescue squad of elite fighters showing up? Who is this woman? Whatever. As long as she keeps paying, she can be the empress for all I care. The fight outside my inn turned into a horror movie real fast. Wu Changshu was holding his own against the mystery rider. Equal skill, blow for blow. But his 8 disciples? They were dropping like flies. One by one dead. These mystery fighters were ruthless and efficient. Who are you? Wu screamed mid-fight. Tianxian sect. Wu's face went from angry to terrified in half a second. Whatever this Tianxian sect was, it scared him bad. And in that moment of distraction, slash. The rider's blade took off Wu's entire left arm. The same arm Pan Sure had broken days ago that had just healed. That arm hit the ground, and I nearly hit the ground with it. Wu screamed like a dying animal, fought desperately to create an opening, and ran away like a man who just lost an arm. The riders didn't chase him. Protecting the young lady is more important, young lady. Young lady? Meanwhile, I was pressed against the wall throwing up everything I'd eaten. Lunch, breakfast, possibly yesterday's dinner. The blood, the bodies, the dead eyes staring at nothing. I couldn't handle it. I know this is a martial arts world. I know people fight and die. But knowing it and watching 8 people get slaughtered on your front lawn are very different things. Then Lu Ro walked out, and every single one of these stone-cold killers immediately bowed. Mississippi, she nodded like a queen greeting her servants. Looked at the corpses on the ground, zero reaction. Looked at me puking my guts out, That surprised her. Are you okay, innkeeper? She clearly thought I was some kind of hidden martial arts master this whole time. And now here I was, pale as a ghost, vomiting because I saw dead people. Not exactly grandmaster behavior. Fine, I managed, deliberately not looking at the ground. She mounted a horse, looked down at me, and said, "Thanks for taking care of me these past days. Keep the remaining silver as my gift. Maybe we'll meet again." And just like that, she rode off with her entourage. Gone. My thousand-tailed golden goose, vanishing into the sunset. I stood there processing, then snapped back to reality. I had a yard full of corpses to deal with. Pan Shi, go report this to the authorities in Songyang County. Pan Shi ran off and came back way too quickly. Alone. They said it's not their jurisdiction. Reported in Xiang County. So I sent him to Xiang County. He came back at nightfall. Also alone. Xiang County says it's not their jurisdiction either. Reported in Songyang County. So nobody manages this area? They both collect taxes from us, but neither will deal with bodies. Correct. Mayan exists in a bureaucratic black hole. 2 counties happy to take my money, 0 counties willing to do their jobs. I thought I was running a scam operation, but apparently the local government has me beat. I told Pan Shi to also ask about buying the surrounding wasteland while he was in Xiang County. They were very interested in selling, he said. 50 taels per acre. 50? For wasteland? Are they robbing people? This is barren, abandoned, weed-covered dirt that nobody has touched in years. In any normal market, this land would basically be free. But these government officials saw a buyer and turned into the biggest scam artists in the region. And I thought why prices were outrageous. These officials make me look like a charity. At least when I charge 5 taels, you get a magical bed that cures your exhaustion. What do they give you? A pile of dirt and a receipt. I'm the second biggest scammer in this area, and honestly, I'm offended. Pan Shi dropped another bomb on me. Normal farmland costs about 10 taels per acre. Poor soil? A few taels. Wasteland like ours. Maybe 1 tael. Xiang County is charging you 50. And even if you pay them, Songyang County will come knocking for their cut too. You'd have to buy the same dirt twice. I sat in silence for a long time. Compared to these government officials, I finally said, I'm running a charity. I genuinely felt proud of my 5-tael room price for the first time. At least my guests get magical sleep restoration. These counties want 50 taels for weeds. Next morning, Pan Shi had already cleaned up the bodies and scrubbed the bloodstains before I even woke up. Front yard looked like nothing ever happened. Employee of the century, that guy? Back to my usual position, squatting at the front door, staring at nothing, hoping a human being would materialize from the horizon. The life of a wilderness innkeeper. Now, Lu Ro's 1,000-tael gift was nice, but my stingy system refused to count it as business income. Only actual charges counted for wealth points. Still, she'd rented 5 medium rooms for 4 nights at 50 taels per night. That's 200 points right there. Plus Wu's 4 nights in a regular room, another 20. Total, 283 upgrade points and 323 wealth points. Time for a shopping spree. First, I maxed everything to level 5. The woodshed now keeps firewood perfectly dry and doubles burn time. The stable doubles horse stamina recovery. The walls got double defense. Important in a world where people literally try to break into your building to murder your guests. And the cellar? Food stays perfectly fresh for 30 days. My cellar is basically a magical refrigerator. Then I went all in on rooms. Upgraded all 10 regular rooms to level 6, spending 160 points. But here's the fun part. At level 6, each room gets its own specialty. So I mixed it up. Soundproof rooms, energy recovery rooms, deep sleep rooms. A whole menu of magical bedroom experiences. Then all 5 medium rooms to level 6. Same strategy, different specialties for each one. And the kitchen? Pushed it to level 6. Cooking now 120% tastier, 120% faster, and it unlocked 3 signature dishes. The recipes just downloaded directly into Shui Tao's brain like he was a cooking robot getting a software update. 1 second he didn't know them, next second, Master Chef. The system is basically the Matrix, but for cooking. 300 upgrade points gone like that. Seemed like so much, I muttered. Spent like so little. I checked the shop with my 323 wealth points, feeling rich. Then immediately felt poor again. A high-level chef costs 300 points. A fighter like Pan Shi? 500 points. My fortune Could barely buy one good employee. I bought nothing. Saved it all. One cool thing I figured out. The system's wealth points and my actual silver are separate. The system tracks business income for points, but the real money is still mine to spend however I want. So I gave Panshir 30 taels of real silver to go buy ingredients in Songyang County. Time to expand the menu beyond cabbage and whatever we found in the forest. Panshir left. I sat at the door. Waited. Watched. Hoped. He came back with groceries. Still not a single person had walked by. Guess today's another bust, I sighed, watching the sun go down, and headed inside for dinner. Then, right as I was sitting down to eat with Panshir and Shui Tao, knock knock. I jumped up so fast I nearly flipped the table. Customer. Panshir, door. Panshir teleported to the gate. I swear this man moves faster than my excitement, and came back with two young people. A couple. The guy, Xiaolin, was wearing a faded blue robe and had that classic, "I'm a scholar and I'm better than you" face. The girl, Shinji Tong, was dressed way nicer, silk skirt, colorful belt, jade pendant that probably cost more than my entire inn. She had rich family energy written all over her. Do you have rooms? The guy asked. We have regular rooms and premium rooms, I said, casually upgrading medium to premium in my sales pitch. They can't see the system. What they don't know won't hurt them. We'll take one premium room, he said immediately. The girl tugged his sleeve. Xiaolang, let's get 2 rooms. Regular ones. We need to save money, but sweetheart, we're in love. Why waste money on 2 rooms? Oh boy. Here we go? No, she said firmly. We haven't married yet. I won't share a room. If you respect me, you'll wait until after the wedding. The guy's face fell like a cake in an earthquake, but he agreed. Fine, fine. Whatever you want. I coughed loudly. So, have you 2 decided? She blushed. Sorry, innkeeper. 2 regular rooms, please. Sure. 5 taels per night. 5 taels? Are you a robber? Every single time. At this point, I should just record the reaction and play it on loop. From the outside, mine still looks like it lost a war. All the upgrades are internal. The system doesn't give me a fresh coat of paint, apparently. So every new guest sees a crumbling shack and hears 5 taels, and their brain short circuits. That's the price. Take it or leave it. I wanted their business desperately, but I couldn't drop the price. The system won't count discounted guests. No points, no experience, no nothing. I'd literally be working for free. I'd rather lose the sale. The guy tried one more angle. See, honey, the rooms are so expensive. Let's just share one room to save money. Smooth move, Romeo. Using my outrageous prices as a pickup strategy. I almost respected it. She wavered for a second. Then, no. 2 rooms. We'll save money on other things. His face crumbled. But he couldn't push harder without looking bad. Fine. 2 rooms. Then SHE pulled out the money. Not him. Her. I kept my poker face, but inside I was very intrigued. The rich girl is funding the broke scholar boyfriend? Classic drama setup. Names? You can even write? The guy sneered, grabbing the guest book and pen from me. He wrote their names himself in annoyingly beautiful handwriting. Xiaolin. Shinji Tong. Okay, his calligraphy was way better than mine. I'll give him that. Nothing else but that. He headed upstairs first. She lingered behind and whispered to me, I'm sorry about him. He's tired from traveling. He didn't mean to be rude. I was surprised. She was apologizing for him, protecting his dignity while also being polite to me. This girl had class. As they went upstairs, I could hear him still complaining. 5 taels for this dump. If there were another inn nearby, you couldn't pay me to stay here. She murmured something soothing. Patient girl. I shook my head watching them. I couldn't figure it out. She was clearly from money. The clothes, the jade, the manners, even her elegant name. He was clearly not. Faded robe washed so many times it was turning white. Bad attitude, empty pockets. Rich girl falls for broke scholar? Oldest story in the book. Not my business, though. They're customers. That's all I need them to be. When they came back down for dinner, I gave them the standard pitch. House rules. 1 free meal per stay, dinner or breakfast, your choice. Or you can order from our menu. I guarantee you'll be impressed. We'll take the free meal, Shinji Tong said. Free food can't be good. We walked all day. We deserve something nice, Xiaolin complained. Shui Tao brought out 2 bowls of porridge and a plate of pickled vegetables. Xiaolin looked at it like I'd served him dirt. This is the free meal? Pathetic. Try it first, I said. Our porridge is actually. It's porridge. You gonna make it do backflips? His girlfriend gently pulled his sleeve. Just try one sip. Fine. One sip. To prove you wrong, he sipped. His face froze. His brain crashed. He stared at the bowl like it had just told him the meaning of life. See? Shin Jitong smiled, eyes crinkling into little crescents. He wasn't lying. It's okay, I guess, Zhao Lin mumbled, face completely contradicting his words. He then proceeded to drink 3 bowls of, okay, I guess, porridge. 3 bowls of food he said he didn't want. This man's ego rights checks his stomach can't cash. After dinner, they went upstairs. He wanted to study for his exams. She gazed at him like he was the greatest human alive. You're so talented and hardworking. You'll definitely pass, obviously. When I become the top scholar, I'll marry you in the grandest ceremony ever. She beamed with happiness. He beamed with self-importance. I beamed with, nah, I just went to bed. Next morning, trouble. I heard coughing before I saw them. Shin Jitong came downstairs looking terrible. Pale face, weak steps, barely breathing properly. Something was seriously wrong. Urine made her sick. Zhao Lin immediately pointed at me. The conditions here are awful. She couldn't sleep properly. I raised an eyebrow. Plenty of people have stayed here. Some complain about the price. Nobody has ever complained about the sleep quality. You dare argue with me? You're just a country bumpkin innkeeper. This guy. This guy? In this world, scholars think they're God's gift to humanity. He genuinely believed being a broke student made him better than me, the business owner he was standing inside of. Zhao Lang, stop, Shin Jitong said weakly. My illness has nothing to do with the inn. Actually, last night was the best sleep I've had in days. I've been feeling sick for a while, but I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry. Don't blame the innkeeper. She was so sick she could barely breathe between sentences, and she was still defending me and managing her boyfriend's feelings. This girl was a saint. Did Zhao Lin notice she was about to collapse? No. He kept ranting. Don't speak for him, Jitong. This place is clearly the problem. You don't have to be polite to these. Mid-sentence, she collapsed. I'd been watching her closely, so I caught her before she hit the floor. Grabbed her arm just in time. Let go of her. Zhao Lin snatched her away from me like I was a criminal. Dude, I just saved her from face-planting. Hey, thank you would have been nice. She was in bad shape. Not unconscious, but barely hanging on. Weak, pale, struggling to breathe. Take her back to her room, I said calmly. She can't travel like this. You should go find a doctor in town. That finally got through to him. He carried her upstairs, came back down, and pointed at me. Take care of her. If anything happens, I'll hold you responsible. Relax. I'm not going to let a guest die in my inn. Bad for business. He ran out. After he left, I went up to sit with Shin Jitong. She was lying on the bed looking like a ghost. I told her I'd stay nearby in case she needed anything. She was a little embarrassed about being alone with a man, but she was too sick to argue. She nodded gratefully and fell asleep fast. I sat there with nothing to do and accidentally noticed. This girl was really, genuinely beautiful. Delicate features, perfect skin, the kind of face that makes you understand why rich families lock their daughters in towers. Which brought me back to the question that had been bugging me since last night. How did she end up with Zhao Lin? She's gorgeous. She's kind. She's well-mannered. She apologizes for other people. She has money. She has class. She's literally perfect. He's rude. He's broke. He's arrogant. He blames everyone else for everything. And his face is fine, I guess. Nothing special. Rich, beautiful girl falls for mediocre, rude scholar. The oldest, most baffling love story in every world. Some things are truly universal, across dimensions, across time. Women's taste in men remains an unsolvable mystery. Zhao Lin came back that afternoon with a doctor. Shoved me out of the way like I was a piece of furniture. Move. Doctor, check on my wife. Wife? They literally argued about separate rooms yesterday because they're not married. But sure, buddy, call her whatever you want. The doctor, a guy in his 50s, checked Shin Jitong's pulse for a while and delivered the news. She grew up pampered in a wealthy household. Her body was fragile. Days of hard traveling wore her down, and then she caught a cold on top of it all. In the modern world, you take some medicine and binge-watch TV for 2 days. In this world, a cold can literally kill you, especially someone with her delicate constitution. I can prescribe medicine, the doctor said, but I can't guarantee she'll recover. Zhao Lin looked shocked. I was shocked too. Yesterday, she was walking and talking. Now we're getting a might die diagnosis? Over a cold? No pharmacies nearby, obviously, so Zhao Lin had to ride back to town with the doctor. By the time he returned with medicine, it was dark. I had Shuetao brew it and sent it up. They stayed. Couldn't travel with her like this. Zhao Lin moved into her room to take care of her. Only paying for one room now. Fine, understandable. 3 days passed. She got worse, not better. Drifting in and out of consciousness. Looking more fragile every day. And here's where the story gets ugly. Zhao Lin was attentive at first. Real boyfriend of the year energy. But as her condition worsened, something in his attitude shifted. Like watching someone slowly take off a mask. One morning, he said he was going out to buy medicine. He didn't come back. Not by lunch. Not by dinner. Not by nightfall. Something happened to him? I wondered. Then Shuetao came downstairs with a report that made my blood boil. Boss, that guy took all his luggage. And the girls' bags have been ransacked. It hit me like a brick. Zhao Lin didn't get attacked. Zhao Lin didn't get lost. Zhao Lin robbed his sick girlfriend and ran. By the next day, still no sign of him. I was certain now. That piece of garbage stole her money and abandoned her while she was dying in bed. Now I had a problem. A very sick woman in my inn. No one to pay for her stay. No one to take care of her. I couldn't throw her out. I'm a scam artist, not a monster. There's a line. I want to check on her. She looked like a completely different person from the girl who walked in days ago. Paper white face, sharp chin, so thin and fragile, she looked like a cracked porcelain doll. Beautiful, but ready to shatter at a touch. She woke up while I was standing there. Where's Zhao Lang? The question I'd been dreading. He's gone. What do you mean? Her voice was barely a whisper. Even those few words used up everything she had. I told her the truth. He left yesterday morning. Took his bags. Went through her stuff. Hasn't come back. Her face changed. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Don't overthink it. I said. Just focus on getting better. I don't think my body is going to make it, she said with a small smile. No fear. Just acceptance. I just regret not listening to my parents. I shouldn't have. Well, maybe this is heaven's punishment. I told her it was just a cold, not a death sentence. But she smiled and said nothing. Outside her room, Pan Sure whispered to me, she's not going to make it, boss. It's just a cold. Her body was already weak. Days of traveling exhausted her. And now finding out the man she loved abandoned her, she's lost the will to live. Without that. So telling her the truth was my fault. No, she would have figured it out eventually. That didn't make me feel better. At all. I couldn't kick her out. I couldn't let her die. I sat behind my counter and opened the system shop. I had 373 wealth points. There were doctors for sale in the shop. Cheap ones and expensive ones. The cheap ones probably couldn't cure her. The expensive ones were way out of my budget. There were also medicines available. The system explained that guests might get sick or injured, so a well-equipped and should stock medical supplies. Made sense. I stared at the shop menu, trying to figure out how to save a dying girl with a scam innkeeper's budget. Funny how this all started. I chased people down roads, intimidated them into staying, charged criminal prices, and called it a business. Now here I was, genuinely worried about a guest I couldn't even charge anymore, trying to save her life with upgrade points and system store medicine. When did I start caring? I blame the porridge. After browsing the system shop's medicine section, I found something called cold dispelling soup, guaranteed to work on serious illnesses caused by wind cold. 100 wealth points. 100. That's a third of my entire savings. For a girl who can't even pay me back. She's definitely reimbursing me when she recovers. I muttered, buying it anyway. I handed the recipe to Pan Sure and sent him to town for ingredients. I could have bought the herbs from the system shop too, but those cost wealth points. Wealth points are more precious than gold to me. Real silver? I've got some. Wealth points? Those are sacred. Pan Sure was back before noon. Perks of having a top-tier martial artist as your errand boy. Shuetao brewed the medicine. I carried it upstairs myself. Shin Jitong was unconscious again, even weaker than before. I gently shook her awake. Time for medicine. She blinked, confused. Then, no. I'm done. She'd given up. The previous medicine hadn't worked. Zhao Lin was gone. Her money was stolen. She had nothing left to fight for. You still have to drink it, I said. I spent a lot of money on this. You can't waste it. When you're better, you're paying me back. She managed a tiny sad smile. I can't pay you. I have no money left. She checked her bags. Everything was gone. We both knew where it went. We'll figure out the money later. The medicine's already here. Might as well drink it. She couldn't argue with that logic. I scooped up some soup, blew on it gently to cool it down, and brought the spoon to her lips. She stared at me for a second. Something flickered in her eyes. What? I asked. And nothing. Her pale cheeks turned slightly pink. She quickly opened her mouth and swallowed. It's sweet. She was surprised. Added sugar. Figured you couldn't handle bitter right now. Her expression changed again. Xiaolin had taken care of her for days and never once thought to add sugar. I do it once, and suddenly I'm a revelation. The bar for men in this world is apparently underground. I fed her the whole bowl, spoon by spoon, tucked her blanket in, and left. Was I crossing some boundaries? Probably. Was I a man sitting on the bed of an unmarried woman, spoon-feeding her medicine? Definitely. Did either of us care at that point? She thought she was dying, and I was trying to keep a customer alive. Romance was the last thing on my mind. Mostly. That evening, I brought the second dose. And here's where it got interesting. She was awake. Not unconscious. Sitting up. Color returning to her face. You look better. I feel better, she said, actually surprised. I have some strength back. I didn't pass out all afternoon. The system medicine was working. Thank God, because I'd basically played doctor without a license. I had no idea what her specific illness was. I just picked an expensive recipe that said, works on serious cold-related diseases, and prayed. She drank it without question. One person brave enough to prescribe blindly. One person brave enough to drink blindly. We deserved each other's recklessness, honestly. Over the next 2 days, I brought medicine twice daily. Her recovery was visible. More color, more energy, more life. By day 3, she was sitting on the edge of her bed, walking around the room, almost back to normal. Still a little weak, but compared to the ghost who was basically picking out coffins 3 days ago, a miracle. That afternoon, I knocked at the usual time. I heard her scramble. Was she fixing her clothes before letting me in? Then a composed, come in. She was sitting neatly on the bed, looking almost healthy. Looking good. Recovery's going well. Almost fully better. She nodded. Thanks to your medicine. I handed her the bowl. She could move now, so obviously she could feed herself. No more spoon feeding. That would be inappropriate. Was there a tiny flash of disappointment on her face when I handed her the bowl instead of the spoon? No, definitely not. I imagined that. She drank it quickly. I picked up the empty bowl to leave. Wait, she called out. I turned around. Can you stay and talk for a bit? Just for a little while. I looked at her. This beautiful, nearly recovered girl sitting on the edge of her bed, asking the scam innkeeper to keep her company. Sure. I sat down on a stool, and Xin Jitong immediately dropped a nuclear bomb on me. I eloped with Xiaolin. Eloped. This quiet, well-mannered, perfect little rich girl ran away from home with a broke scholar. In this world, that's basically the scandal of the century. I nearly fell off my stool. She told me the whole story. Met him at a poetry gathering. He was confident, brilliant, practically glowing with talent. She fell for him like a rock off a cliff. Searched for information about him. Approached him first, the whole deal. When he said he liked her back, she thought she was the happiest person alive. She told her parents. They said absolutely not. Locked her in the house. Grounded her like a medieval princess in a tower. Did she listen? Of course not. She snuck out with help from her maid, found Xiaolin, and he said the magic words, I'll take care of you. When I pass my exams, I'll come back and formally propose. So she abandoned her family, her reputation, her comfortable life. Everything, for this man. And he robbed her while she was dying in bed. Maybe getting sick was heaven's way of showing you who he really is, I offered. Maybe, she smiled sadly. They say surviving a great disaster brings great fortune. My fortune was seeing his true face. I just wish I'd seen it sooner. My parents must be so disappointed. I tried to tell her it wasn't too late. Her parents would forgive her. She shook her head. You don't know my father. He cares about family honor above everything. A daughter who elopes? He'll never accept that. I couldn't argue. This was a feudal society. What she did was basically the worst thing a well-bred girl could do. It's my own fault, she said with a bitter laugh. I don't blame my parents. I blame my own blind eyes. I felt bad for her. Genuinely. But as I walked out of her room, my brain immediately switched back to business mode. That 100 wealth points is gone forever. And the room fees. Who would have guessed? Me, the guy running the biggest scam in the country, actually losing money on a guest. Look, her story was sad. Really sad. But she was a stranger. The world is full of sad stories. I couldn't fix them all. What I could do was run my inn and not go bankrupt. Except right now, she was my only guest, and she was completely broke. Zero income. I couldn't exactly sell her or make her work as a waitress. I was stuck. Then the next morning, everything changed. I was stretching outside when I saw riders approaching. My first thought, it's not even noon, they won't stay. My second thought, wait, is that Zhao Lin? It was. The scumbag was flopped across a horse like a sack of garbage, hands tied, bouncing with every step, looking absolutely miserable. They stopped at my door. Someone grabbed Zhao Lin and literally threw him on the ground like trash. Beautiful. A wealthy-looking middle-aged man dismounted and walked up to me. You the servant here? I'm the owner, actually. Know this man? He pointed at Zhao Lin, lying in the dirt. Unfortunately, yes. Did a young woman check in with him a few days ago? Yes. Where is she? His voice was shaking. His face was tense. Still here. She got sick, but she's recovering. She's alive? His face exploded with joy. Xiao Teng is okay. She's okay. He was so overcome with emotion, he couldn't even hear my follow-up questions. I looked down at Zhao Lin on the ground. He stared up at me with disbelief, probably shocked that Xin Jitong was still alive and still here. Yeah, buddy. While you were running off with her money, I was spoon-feeding her medicine and adding sugar because she couldn't handle bitter flavors. The difference between you and me? I charge 5 taels a night, but I actually take care of my guests. You got the girlfriend experience for free and still couldn't be bothered. Karma delivered, express shipping, right to my front door. The middle-aged man stumbled toward my inn, so emotional he could barely walk straight. His servant had to hold him up. Then from the ground, Zhao Lin, battered, tied up, lying in the dirt, suddenly realized what was happening. That's great. Jitong is alive. Bad move. Her father spun around and kicked him so hard he ate dirt. You don't get to say her name. This is all your fault. He turned to his servant. Beat him. Hard. The servant went to work on Zhao Lin like he was tenderizing meat. Zhao Lin screamed and begged. Nobody cared. It was honestly the most satisfying thing I'd witnessed since arriving in this world. Take me to her, the father said to me. You know her? I'm her father. Oh. Oh wow. I led him upstairs. He pushed open the door, and there was Shun Jitong, looking much better, about to go for a walk. She saw him and froze. Father? How did you? He looked her up and down about 5 times, making sure she was really okay. She dropped to her knees. I was foolish, father. I brought shame to you and our family. I'm sorry, he sighed, helped her up, and kicked everyone out so they could talk privately. Fair enough. My daughter eloped with a broke con artist isn't exactly a conversation you have with an audience. I tried chatting with one of the bodyguards while I waited. He stared through me like I was invisible. Cool. Very friendly bunch. About 20 minutes later, the father came downstairs. He dismissed his servants and turned to me. My daughter tells me you've been taking care of her this whole time. She's my guest. Taking care of guests is what we do. Customer satisfaction is our top priority. Never miss a chance to plug the brand. He pulled out a stack of banknotes and placed them on my counter. My eyes went wide. My hands twitched. My soul lunged for that money. But my brain, my beautiful, scheming, business genius brain, said stop. I can't accept this, I said, wearing my most noble expression. I didn't help your daughter for a reward. She was my guest. It was my duty. His jaw actually dropped a little. He didn't expect that. Here's my logic. That stack of cash is just cash. But if this man and his 15 servants eat here and sleep here, that's experience points, wealth points, upgrade points. The system only counts actual business transactions. A thank you gift gives me nothing but silver, and silver is the least valuable currency I deal in. If you really want to thank me, I said, keeping my righteous face perfectly composed, stay for a meal. Maybe spend the night. Support the business. He stared at me for a long moment, clearly impressed by my integrity. Keep the money, he said. And I'll stay one night. Jackpot. But I had to stay in character. I appreciate you supporting my inn, but I really can't take the extra money. You'll only pay for what you use here. Not a coin more. Was I dying inside? Yes. Was my performance Oscar-worthy? Also yes. He put the bank notes away, visibly raising his opinion of me. This man thought I was genuinely selfless. In reality, I was doing cold hard math and choosing upgrade points over paper money. But what he doesn't know makes him respect me more. Then came the interrogation. Did that scum do anything inappropriate with my daughter? Nothing that I saw. Did they sleep in one room or two? Two, I said instantly. Zhao Lin wanted one room. Your daughter insisted on two. Separate rooms, separate beds. He let out a breath he'd been holding since probably the day she disappeared. Oomph, that animal wanted to share a room? I knew he had bad intentions. He asked a few more questions about the details, but I'm an innkeeper, not a surveillance camera. I told him what I knew and he eventually let it go. Scores so far. Refused a fat stack of cash, earned a rich man's respect, secured a night's stay for 16 people, and watched Zhao Lin get beaten into the ground. Best business day ever. At noon, Shen Jitong came downstairs and sat with her father. Whatever they discussed in private seemed to have gone well. He wasn't disowning her or anything. As for Zhao Lin, gone. Didn't know where, didn't care. Hope he's having a terrible time wherever he is. 13 people total, Shen Jitong's father plus 12 bodyguard servants. 13 paying customers sitting in my inn. My heart was singing opera. Pancher stepped up as waiter. What would you like? Her father browsed the menu and his eyebrows went up when he heard we had signature dishes. You have specialties? In this place? Give me all three. Every table. Plus bamboo stew and tofu soup. I was behind the counter doing invisible cartwheels. Our signature dishes are not cheap. Golden pearl rice and mountain 3 crispy, 10 taels each. Wine braised dompa pork, 20 taels. Per serving. Times 4 tables. My mental cash register was going ding ding ding. Father, the food here is really good, Shen Jitong said. In this dump? What could possibly be good? Fair question from a man who'd apparently eaten royal palace food before. These weren't ordinary rich people. These were eat with the emperor rich people. The porridge was amazing, she offered. Porridge? That's all you had. The free meals were porridge, and I was trying to save money. You were saving money? My precious daughter was eating free porridge while that worthless. He couldn't even finish. Just stared at her with a mixture of heartbreak and fury. Then the food arrived. Fast. Her father looked surprised at the speed. Thank you, level 6 kitchen with 120% cooking boost. And then he saw the dompa pork. The meat was glowing red like amber jewels. Perfectly cut squares, skin glistening with oil. The smell hit the table, soy sauce, wine, and pork braised into pure harmony. He leaned in and sniffed like a wine connoisseur at a vineyard. He picked up a piece with his chopsticks. The meat practically fell apart at the touch, impossibly tender. He put it in his mouth. Silence. Then, good, 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 3 goods. From a man who'd eaten royal cuisine. From a man who thought he'd tasted everything the world had to offer. My crumbling shack in the middle of nowhere just shattered his entire culinary worldview. He tried the other dishes. Same reaction. Everything was incredible. The mountain 3 crispy, the golden pearl rice, not a single weak link. He actually ate 2 bowls of rice. This man probably has personal chefs at home, and he's going back for seconds at my place. Shen Jitong looked proud. Proud. Like she owned the restaurant. See, father? I told you. You were right, you were right. I never imagined food like this could exist in a place like this. I underestimated it completely. His bodyguards were inhaling food at the other tables like vacuum cleaners. No compliments from them. Their mouths were too full to speak, but the speed of their chopsticks said everything. Everyone was happy. Everyone was satisfied. Beautiful family moment. Then came the bill. How much? Her father asked. 180 taels. His face froze. I'm sorry, how much? 180 taels, I repeated with my warmest smile. How is it that expensive? Because it's worth it, I said simply. And honestly, he couldn't argue. He'd just called the food better than palace cooking. Hard to complain about the price after saying 3 goods in a row. That's the beauty of my business model. Make the food so amazing they can't deny its value. Then hit them with a number that makes their eyes water. I turned scam artistry into an art form. Shen Jitong's father didn't argue the price. He couldn't. He'd just called the food better than anything he'd eaten in his life. And this man had eaten royal palace cuisine. Hard to haggle after that. He paid the 180 taels without a word. Beautiful. Then I pounced. Sir, we also have premium rooms. Bigger, better, more comfortable. Would you like to upgrade? Yes. 2 premium rooms. No hesitation. No bargaining. No, you're robbing me. Just yes. This is what a real customer looks like. Take notes. Everyone who's ever stayed here before. I learned his name from the register. Shin Yunshan. Sounds important. Probably important. I specifically put Shin Jitong in the Harmony Recovery Room, one of my special level 6 medium rooms that accelerates healing, balances energy, and restores the body. Perfect for a girl who almost died of a cold last week. After everyone settled in, Shin Jitong came back downstairs alone. Just need some fresh air, she said. Been stuck in a room for days. Then she dropped the Zhao Lin update. I let him go. She told me everything her father had uncovered. And my God, this man was an absolute masterpiece of garbage. He was caught in a gambling house. Already lost most of her stolen money. He was already married back home. Most of his brilliant poetry that swept her off her feet, purchased. He bought other people's poems to impress rich girls at poetry gatherings. He'd failed his exams repeatedly and decided marrying into a wealthy family was his shortcut. And the elopement? His plan was never to propose after passing exams. He wanted to, let's say, create irreversible circumstances that would force her parents to accept him. When she got sick, she became a liability instead of an asset. So he grabbed her cash and bolted. He confessed all of this in exchange for her letting him go. Am I stupid? She asked me. I was a little lost. No, I said. Everyone meets terrible people in their life. You didn't do anything wrong. Zhao Lin is just human trash. She smiled a little. Then told me something that actually caught me off guard. When you first told me Zhao Lin was gone and my money was stolen, I didn't believe you. Wait, what? You were a stranger. He was the man I loved. My first thought was, you probably hurt him and stole my money. Then why didn't you say anything? Because I was a sick, weak woman alone with a stranger. What was I supposed to do, fight you? She laughed. I just pretended to believe you until I could figure things out. Smart. Actually really smart. I hadn't considered that angle at all. Of course, she wouldn't trust the random innkeeper over her boyfriend. From her perspective, I was the suspicious one. It was only after you kept bringing me medicine every day, adding sugar to make it easier to drink, taking care of me so gently, that I started believing you. But even then, part of me hoped it wasn't true, that he hadn't really abandoned me. She smiled bitterly, but there was something lighter in her expression now. She let it go. All of it. Thanks for listening to me ramble, she said, standing up. I feel a lot better getting all that out. Happy to be your listener anytime, she smiled. A real one this time. Bright and warm. That evening, her father came down for dinner. I'd already told him about the free meal deal, but he ordered off the menu anyway, including the wine-braised dompa pork. Again, 20 more taels, walking right into my pocket. This man was rapidly becoming my favorite human being in any dimension. Shin Yunshan ate an entire serving of dompa pork by himself. 20 taels of meat, gone into one man. I watched with the loving eyes of a merchant watching money convert into happiness. Shin Jitong, meanwhile, ate like a modern girl on a diet, picked at the mushroom vegetable dish, and called it a night. Even in ancient China, women watch their figure. Some things are truly universal. After dinner, Shin Yunshan hit me with an unexpected pitch. Have you thought about opening a restaurant in the capital? No, you should. Your chef is wasted out here. The capital is full of rich nobles who'll pay anything for food this good. You'd make a fortune, he went on and on. Honestly, he made great points. My location is terrible. No customers. Amazing food with nobody to sell it to. The capital would solve everything. But I can't. The system is chained to this inn. I can't open a new place. I can't relocate. I'm stuck here like a tree with really good cooking skills. Of course I couldn't tell him that, so I just politely declined. Really not interested. Really? What if? I buy your chef? Name your price. Bold move, trying to poach my employee right to my face. At least he was honest about it instead of sneaking around. Go ahead and try, I smiled. If you can convince him, he's yours for free. Shin Yunshan thought I was bluffing. He went straight to Xue Tao's kitchen with promises of riches, prestige, a life in the capital. Xue Tao didn't even blink. The man is a system employee. He literally cannot leave me. His loyalty isn't earned, it's programmed. But Shin Yunshan didn't know that, so he just walked away baffled. Your people are remarkably loyal, he said. I smiled mysteriously. Let him think I'm an incredible leader who inspires undying devotion. Better than the truth. I bought him from a magical shopping menu. Next morning, everyone packed up to leave. Shin Jitong came downstairs looking noticeably healthier. Rosy cheeks, steady steps. The Harmony recovery room had worked its magic overnight, plus the medicine was still doing its thing. Shin Yunshan admitted he'd had the best sleep in ages. Stress, insomnia, exhaustion from searching for his daughter, all gone after one night. He even said he'd stay longer if he didn't have urgent business. "You're always welcome back," I said. "Our doors are always open." Shun Jitong climbed onto a horse. She couldn't ride, so a servant led it for her. She looked back at my crumbling inn, then at me. "Goodbye, Innkeeper Liu. Goodbye, Miss Shun. Safe travels." Something flickered in her eyes, a tiny spark of reluctance. Then they rode away. I stood at the gate watching them disappear, running the numbers in my head. 2 meals, for 100 taels. 2 premium rooms for the father and daughter, 20 taels. 12 regular rooms for the servants, 60 taels. Shin Jitong's unpaid room fees that her father covered, 20 taels. Grand total from one overnight stay, 500 taels. 500 taels. This man spent more money in 24 hours than my inn had made in its entire existence. He's my best customer, my favorite person, and if I could build a statue of him in front of my inn, I would. I refused his cash gift earlier and chose to let him spend it on services instead. That decision just earned me 500 taels worth of upgrade points and wealth points that a simple thank you payment never would have given me. Sometimes being noble is the most profitable move you can make. 500 taels from one overnight guest. 500 wealth points. 500 upgrade points. 13 experience points. Shin Yunshan wasn't a customer. He was a walking lottery ticket. I watched them ride away with the reverence of a man watching his favorite ATM leave town. "Come back anytime," I whispered to the dust cloud. "Please." Back inside, I checked my balance. 773 wealth points. 552 upgrade points. I'd never been this rich in system currency. I felt like a kid who just found out his piggy bank was actually full. Time to go shopping. First purchase, a new guest book. 200 wealth points. Sounds insane for a notebook, right? But this one comes with an identification feature. When someone writes their name in it, has to be in their own handwriting. I can see their personal information. Basically a magical background check disguised as hotel registration. In this world, not everyone can read and write, but almost everyone can scrawl their own name. So it works. Second purchase, a new counter. Another 200 points. My old counter was falling apart. Splinters everywhere, sharp edges. I'd nearly cut myself multiple times. But the real reason I bought this one? It also has identification powers. Anything a guest places on the counter, luggage, weapons, bags, I can see information about it. X-ray vision for objects. My front desk is now basically airport security. Both items can be upgraded too. Of course they can. Everything in this system can be upgraded. My wallet can never rest. Third purchase, 2 tables. 100 wealth points total. 50 each. 50 points for a table. That's the same price as a mid-level chef. But these tables are level 1 indestructible. Regular people can't break them. After watching Panshur's fight destroy 2 of my old tables, I needed furniture that could survive a martial arts battle. I'd planned to build the Blood Shadow guys for the damage, but they all died, so. Bad debt. 500 points gone. My 773 shrank to 273 in minutes. Shopping is the same in every dimension. Exciting until you check the balance. Now for upgrade points. I had 552, and I got curious about the guest book. What happens when you upgrade a notebook? Level 1 to level 2. Absolutely nothing changed. Same description. Same everything. I stared at it wondering if the system was pranking me. Level 2 to level 3. The description now said, fairly detailed information. Okay, so higher levels equals more info. Got it. I kept going. Level 4. Level 5. Fairly detailed became just detailed, fewer words, more power. At this point, any sane person would stop. But I had upgrade points burning a hole in my pocket and curiosity eating my brain. I pushed to level 6, 16 points. Nothing changed. Again, same trick as level 2. So obviously I had to go to level 7. 32 upgrade points for 1 level. This guest book was now the highest level item in my entire inn. I'd spent more on upgrading a notebook than I'd spent on most of my rooms. But when level 7 unlocked, my jaw hit the floor. I'm not going to say what the new feature was yet, but let me put it this way. I just spent a small fortune upgrading a guest register, and looking at what it could do now, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Sometimes the craziest investments pay off the biggest. And sometimes a notebook is the most dangerous weapon in an innkeeper's arsenal. The Level 7 Guest Book's new feature? It can reveal a random secret about whoever signs it. A secret, just from writing their name. This notebook is basically a gossip machine powered by magic. I love it. Then I upgraded the counter to Level 7 too. Along the way, it became fireproof, swordproof, and tough enough to survive a full power hit from a top-tier martial artist. My front desk is now more durable than most fortresses. But the Level 7 bonus? It can track a guest's location using any item they've left behind. Cool. Sure. Useful? I'm an innkeeper, not a bounty hunter. The only time I'd need to track someone is if they dined and dashed. And even then, is it worth chasing someone across the country over 5 tails? That actually, yes. Yes, it is. I blew through the rest of my upgrade points maxing rooms to Level 7. Started with 552 points, ended with 10. Gone. Evaporated. Like morning dew on a hot day, upgrade points are basically designed to never be enough. The inn went quiet again after Shun Yunshan left. Back to the greatest hits, me squatting at the door, staring at an empty road, contemplating my life choices. But that same evening, 2 new guests, a young man and woman, both carrying swords. Martial arts couple. My favorite kind of customer because they usually have money and injuries, which means they'll stay longer. Staying or just eating? Staying. The guy, Zhang Yan, dropped his bag on my new Level 7 counter. Immediately, text appeared in my vision like a video game HUD. Robe. Ordinary clothing, slightly worn. Undershirt. Ordinary clothing, 80% new. Silver, 500 taels. I could see everything in his bag without opening it. My counter was basically doing a full luggage scan. TSA would be jealous. Please write your names here, I said, pushing over my shiny new Level 7 guest book. We have to write them ourselves? In policy. What kind of weird rule is that? I've traveled everywhere and never. Every inn is different, I smiled. Just like our food and beds are different from anywhere else you've stayed. You'll see. His girlfriend told him to just do it. He wrote his name, Zhang Yan. Then he tried to write her name too. I stopped him immediately. Sorry. Each guest must write their own name. No substitutes. Another weird rule. Yes, another weird rule. Because the guest book's magic only works with the person's own handwriting. If he writes her name, I get nothing. But I obviously couldn't explain that. The woman took the pen and wrote, Mu Yanlan. The handwriting was terrible. Both of theirs was. But they're sword fighters, not calligraphers. As long as the magic notebook can read it, I don't care. We have premium rooms at 10 taels and regular rooms at 5 taels per night. 5 taels? RUROB, yes, I know. Moving on, I've heard this line so many times I could set it to music. Then I played my new card. Thanks to the Level 7 guest book, I already knew Zhang Yan's detailed information, including the fact that he was injured. I notice you seem to have some injuries, I said casually. If you stay in our premium room, I guarantee you'll recover most of your wounds by tomorrow morning. His hand shot to his sword. His eyes went cold. You're a martial artist too? Not at all. I smiled innocently. He couldn't figure out how a random innkeeper spotted his hidden injuries. Was I a secret master? A retired fighter? A mystic sage? Nope. I'm just a guy with a magic notebook. But he didn't need to know that. The Level 7 guest book spilled everything about Zhang Yan the moment he wrote his name. 22 years old. Second-rate beginner martial artist. Disciple of the Green Sun sect. Knows Green Sun internal energy and Green Sun swordsmanship. In love with his fellow disciple Mu Yanlan. Childhood sweethearts. Problem. Some elder's grandson named Zheng Yuan also liked Mu Yanlan. Couldn't have her. Got jealous. Framed Zhang Yan. Zhang Yan had no choice but to grab Mu Yanlan and flee the sect. Oh, and his secret. Injured. Serious internal damage plus an external wound on his stomach. Courtesy of the sect's top disciple, Hu Tao. So basically I knew this man's entire life story, his love triangle drama, and his medical history. All because he wrote 2 characters in a book. This guest register is the most overpowered notebook since Death Note. Except instead of killing people, it just violates their privacy. Something's off about this place, Zhang Yan whispered to Mu Yanlan. Let's go. Absolutely not. Wait, wait, wait. I jumped in. There's no other inn for miles. You'll be sleeping in the wilderness, with wild animals, and your injuries will get worse. Is that really what you want? Mu Yinlan hesitated. She was worried about his wounds. Smart girl. Let's stay, she said. You can't keep traveling like this. She's right. I practically cheered. Money is important, but your life is more important. Zhang Yan was suspicious, but he respected his girlfriend's opinion. Fine. One regular room, one room. Unmarried couple. No argument about separate rooms this time. These two had clearly figured that part out already. Refreshing, honestly. After the Zhao Lin and Xin Jitang drama, I appreciated efficiency. But have you considered the premium room? I pressed on. It was built with help from a master. It actually helps heal injuries. Way better than a regular room. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Zhang Yin said with his whole face. Tell you what, stay in the premium room tonight. If your injuries aren't mostly healed by morning, I'll refund everything. That got their attention. Both stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You're that confident? Mu Yinlan asked. Absolutely. Then let's do the premium room, she decided. I sent them to the healing body room on the 3rd floor, my level 7 specialty room designed specifically for injury recovery. If this room couldn't fix a second-rate martial artist's wounds overnight, I'd eat my counter. Mayan is really something, I chuckled, putting away the guest book. Everyone who shows up is either injured, eloping, or both. These two managed to check all the boxes. Made sense, though. Mayan sits on a hidden side path in the middle of nowhere. Normal people take the main road. The only ones who come through here are people running from something. The law, a sect, a bad relationship. My target demographic is literally fugitives. They stayed in their room all evening. Dinner? Free porridge. Didn't even come downstairs. No upselling opportunity. Disappointing, but understandable. The man was held together by willpower and bandages. Next morning, they came down and I almost didn't recognize Zhang Yan. Yesterday, he looked like death warmed over. Today? Rosy cheeks, steady steps, bright eyes. Your room actually works. Mu Yinlan was practically bouncing. His injuries are mostly healed. Zhang Yan didn't say anything, but his eyes were the size of dinner plates. He knew his own body. Recovery like this should have taken days. One night in my room did what days of rest couldn't. Still think I was lying? I grinned. No, not at all, Mu Yinlan said quickly. My gamble paid off perfectly. Now they believed in the rooms, which meant they'd probably stay longer, which meant more money, more points, more upgrades. Skeptics become believers. Believers become repeat customers. Repeat customers become walking advertisements. That's the business plan, baby. After breakfast, which they actually paid for, hallelujah, Zhang Yin and Mu Yinlan went back upstairs. Not leaving yet. Good. As long as Zhang Yin's body is still healing, they'll stick around, and every night is another 10 taels in my pocket. Then, that afternoon, hoofbeats again. At this point, hearing horses on my little dirt road was like hearing a doorbell. Except every time someone rings it, they're either running from someone or chasing someone. Mine doesn't get normal travelers. It gets drama. The riders stopped in front of me. Hey, seen a young couple? Guys about your height, girls thin and pretty. Both armed. Real specific description there, buddy. Could you be more vague? I've seen lots of people. I hadn't. But he didn't need to know that. Just answer the question. Did you see them or not? Panshir walked up beside me. I glanced at him. He nodded. That's our whole communication system. One look, one nod, message received. I can destroy these guys. Yeah, I've seen them, I said casually. They're staying at my inn right now. Their eyes lit up like fireworks. They're here? I knew they'd take the small roads. They dismounted and marched into my inn like they owned it, completely ignoring my existence, and started screaming. Zhang Yan, Mu Yinlan, get out here. We know you're in here. Hey, Ichi-wai. I stepped in front of them. Stop yelling. You're disturbing my guests. Do that again and you're out. Who do you think you are? We're from the Green Sun sect. We're here to catch traitors. Get in our way and we'll demolish this place. Demolish my inn? I smiled. Go ahead. I'd love to see you try. You asked for it. Brothers, trash this place. They moved. Or tried to. They hadn't even touched a table before Panshir was among them like a fox in a henhouse. Left hand, right hand, boom boom boom. Bodies flying. Screams echoing. In 3 seconds flat, every single one of them was on the ground moaning. I surveyed the scene and put on my sternest face. Pan Shi, I need to criticize you. He froze. Why did you hit them so fast? You should have let them get worked up first. Let them break a few tables. Then I could have charged them for property damage. Now I get nothing. Zero compensation. You cost me money. I apologize for being too hasty, boss. Just follow my lead next time. Watch my eyes before you punch. Yes, boss. I turned to the groaning pile of Green Sun disciples. Let me make something clear. Don't cause trouble in my inn. Don't disturb my guests. Next time, we won't be this gentle. Pan Shi, throw them out. Pan Shi grabbed 2 guys at a time, one in each hand like grocery bags, walked to the door and launched them into the yard. Then came back for 2 more. Then 2 more. Assembly line ejection service. Some tried to fight back. Some tried to squirm free. All of them failed. Pan Shi threw people out of mine the way normal people throw out trash, with zero effort and even less emotion. Much better, I said, enjoying the silence. But business is business. Pan Shi, go tell them they're welcome to check in as guests. But if they stay, no fighting between guests. Break that rule, and they deal with you. Pan Shi delivered the message. About 10 minutes later, they shuffled back in. Bruised faces, swollen eyes, limping steps. But they had one thing to say. We want to check in. My face transformed from stern bouncer to cheerful hotel receptionist in 0.2 seconds. Check in? Wonderful. How many rooms? Regular or premium? They stared at me like they'd just witnessed a magic trick. The man who threatened them 30 seconds ago was now smiling like their best friend. A few of them looked genuinely confused about which version of me was real. Both versions, guys. That's the beauty of the hospitality industry. I smile when you pay and frown when you don't. Simple business model. Regular rooms. 4 of them. 7 guys signed the guest book one by one like obedient kindergartners. Pan Shi's beating had completely recalibrated their attitude. Amazing what a few broken ribs do for manners. 20 taels total. That's so expen. I just smiled and glanced at Pan Shi. They paid instantly. Quick reminder, no fighting between guests. Anyone who starts a fight gets kicked out. No refunds. Pan Shi took them upstairs. Came back with a headcount update. There were 8 originally. Only 7 checked in. Gone to get backup, I said, barely looking up from my new level 7 guest book, which was currently showing me everything about these 7 Green Sun sect disciples. Same thing as the Blood Shadow guys. Nothing new. Honestly, at this point I should offer a loyalty card. Get chased to our inn 5 times, 6 stay free. More people coming meant more customers. I was basically running a conflict-powered hotel. Enemies chase targets to my inn. I charge both sides for rooms. Pan Shi keeps them from killing each other, and I collect silver from everyone. It's the most peaceful war profiteering in history. Shortly after, Zhang Yan and Mu Yanlan came downstairs looking stressed. Why did you tell them we were here? Zhang Yan demanded. Why wouldn't I? They asked. I knew. I'm not your personal bodyguard or your secret keeper. I'm an innkeeper. Mu Yanlan quickly elbowed him. Sorry, he's just anxious. Please don't take offense. Zhang Yan caught her look and deflated. Sorry, I'm just. They've been chasing us and my injuries aren't fully healed, and relax, I said. They're checked in as guests. You're checked in as guests. Nobody touches anybody under my roof. That's the rule. Then the 7 Green Sun guys heard voices and came thundering downstairs. Zhang Yan, Mu Yanlan, we found you. Both sides locked eyes. The air went electric. Hands twitched towards swords. Jaws clenched. And me? I leaned back behind my counter, wished I had popcorn, and watched the show. As long as nobody swung a weapon, they could argue until sunrise for all I cared. Free entertainment. Hand over the secret manual you stole, their leader Feng Zhuang shouted. I didn't steal anything. The second elder set me up. Thanks to my guest book, I already knew the whole story. Zhang Yan was telling the truth. The elder's grandson Zheng Yuan wanted Mu Yanlan, couldn't have her, so Grandpa helped frame Zhang Yan for theft. Classic villain playbook. Lured him to an empty room, showed up with witnesses, accused him of stealing a martial arts manual that he never even saw. Why would the second elder frame you? What are you worth? Feng Zhuang sneered. Because of Yanlan. Zheng Yuan wants her. He threatened me. You're making up lies about an elder to cover your crimes. Disgusting. Nobody believed Zhang Yan. Of course not. He was a nobody disciple accusing a powerful elder. In any organization, sect, company, government, power wins over truth. Zhang Yan was smart not to go back. He'd walk in claiming innocence and walk out with a death sentence. I knew the truth. I had it written in magical ink on a magical notebook. But what was I going to do? Wave a book in their faces and say, actually, my enchanted guest register says he's innocent? They'd think I was insane. And I had zero actual evidence. So I just watched, munching imaginary popcorn. Both sides going back and forth, neither convincing the other, voices getting louder, faces getting redder. Finally, when everyone was red-faced and hoarse, I saw my opening. You guys seem tired. How about a break? Maybe some food? Our chef recently created some new pastries. Why don't you all sit down, have a snack, and calm down? I guarantee you'll love them. Nothing defuses a standoff like snacks. That's not ancient wisdom. That's just good business. Right in the middle of the standoff, I dropped my signature move, the snack interruption. You guys seem tired. How about some pastries? Feng Zhuang glared at me, saw Pan Shi, and immediately unglared. He sat down at a table like a good boy. The others followed. Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan sat at a separate table. Mu Yanlan whispered to Zhang Yin, "Eat. Rest tonight. Leave tomorrow morning." Smart girl had a plan. Everyone ordered food. The Green Sun guys didn't know the prices until after they'd ordered. Watching their faces when they found out was like watching someone step on a rake in slow motion. But they couldn't cancel, not with Pan Shi standing right there. They just swallowed their pride along with their dinner. And what a dinner. Even Feng Zhuang's crew forgot about catching Zhang Yin. They were too busy stuffing their faces. This chef is incredible. The prices are insane, but honestly, worth it. After we catch Zhang Yin, let's stay a few extra days just to eat. You got money for that? I've been saving up. We're best friends, right? Treat me. Deal. These guys went from, "We'll destroy your inn," to, "Can we please stay longer," in the span of one meal. Food diplomacy at its finest. Everyone went to bed. Pan Shi guarded the staircase between floors. Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan on the third floor, Green Sun guys on the second. Nobody tried anything overnight. They figured their second elder was coming tomorrow, so why start trouble now? Next morning, Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan came down with packed bags. Leaving? Yes. Safe travels. They walked out. 30 seconds later, Feng Zhuang's crew stampeded downstairs and chased after them. I shook my head. There goes my income. But this time, the universe was generous. That afternoon, I was sunbathing at my front door when two familiar figures appeared on the road. Limping, bleeding, holding each other up. Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan. Back. What happened? They looked terrible. Last time, only Zhang Yin was hurt. Now both of them were injured. Mu Yanlan had blood on her lip, unsteady legs, the works. They'd clearly run into something ugly out there. You said no fighting between guests in your inn, right? Zhang Yin asked, breathing hard. Absolutely. That's the rule. We want to check in. Same room as last night. Welcome back, I said cheerfully. Terrible circumstances for them. Wonderful circumstances for my revenue. They stumbled inside and signed the guest book again. I was about to call Pan Shi to take them upstairs when, "Elder." "They're in here," Feng Zhuang's voice, coming from right outside. I raised an eyebrow. Not just Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan came back. The entire chase party returned too. And they brought the boss. An old man walked in first. Powerful presence. Rocksteady steps. Sharp eyes. Definitely a high-level fighter. On his left, a young man who looked like a younger version of him. That had to be Zheng Yuan, the grandson, the jealous one who started this whole mess. On his right, my old friend Feng Zhuang, looking way too pleased with himself. Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan's faces went white. My face. Pure sunshine. More enemies chasing targets into my inn. More people needing rooms. More mouths needing food. The universe keeps sending me conflict, and I keep converting it into profit. At this point, my inn's unofficial slogan should be, "Running from someone? Run here." We charge both sides. "So you're here after all," the old man said, staring at Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan like they were bugs he intended to squash. My two paying guests backed up until they were pressed against my counter. Not great body language for people trying to look brave. The young guy next to the elder, Zheng Yuan, the jealous grandson, the one who started this whole mess, pointed at Zhang Yin. "Hand over the manual, traitor. You framed me. Both of you. Ridiculous. Grandpa is an elder. Why would he frame a nobody like you?" I knew exactly why, thanks to my magic guest book. But sure, keep performing, kid. Then I caught Zheng Yuan looking at Mu Yanlan. The look in his eyes made my skin crawl. Pure greed. This wasn't about any stolen manual. This was about a girl who rejected him and a boyfriend he wanted eliminated. Classic psychopath behavior wrapped in sect politics. Just as things were about to explode, I coughed loudly. Ahem. So, are you folks eating or staying? Feng Zhuang pointed at Pan Shi and warned the elder. That waiter is strong. We couldn't beat him, Zheng Yuan scoffed. A waiter? Please. He marched toward Zhang Yan, ready to personally deliver violence. Pan Shi appeared in front of him like a ghost. Zheng Yuan reached out to shove Pan Shi aside and got launched backward like a rag doll. One casual push. The grandson flew across the room and crashed into his grandpa. How dare you? Elder Zheng caught his stumbling grandson with one hand and attacked Pan Shi with the other. The old man was fast, I'll give him that. The two of them collided in a blur of fists and palm strikes. Wind pressure from their hits blew everyone's hair back. The Green Sun disciples scrambled out of the way like scared chickens. Boom. One final palm clash. The elder used the rebound to retreat back to his group, face deadly serious. Who are you? He demanded. In waiter, Pan Shi said flatly. Impossible. No waiter fights like that. Yeah, that's what everyone says. At this point, impossible, he's just a waiter, should be embroidered on Pan Shi's uniform. The elder was a late first-rate fighter, one level below Pan Shi. And in martial arts, one level at the top is a big gap. He'd lost that exchange, and he knew it. Are we done? I smiled. If you want to eat or stay, welcome. If not, leave. No loiterers. I sent Zhang Yan and Mu Yinlan upstairs. The elder tried to chase them. Pan Shi blocked him. Then the elder yelled at Feng Zhuang's crew to go grab the traitors, while he kept Pan Shi busy. Pan Shi's eyes went cold. He smacked the elder back with one palm, then bulldozed through Feng Zhuang's group like a bowling ball through pins. They tried to gang up on him. Useless. The elder jumped back in, and the whole group surrounded Pan Shi together. Now this was different from before. Pan Shi was winning, but not easily. The elder plus 7 disciples were actually making him work for it. I'd never seen Pan Shi struggle before. He still had the advantage, but it was thin, like watching someone juggle. Impressive, but one mistake, and everything crashes. Standing behind my counter, watching my only bodyguard fight 10 people simultaneously, I had one thought. I really should have bought a second fighter. Hindsight is a beautiful, useless thing. I had the wealth points. I had the opportunity. But I spent everything on a fancy guest book and an indestructible counter. My counter could survive a nuclear blast, but it couldn't punch anyone. Note to self. Next shopping spree. Buy muscle first, furniture second. Thankfully, Pan Shi could still handle the situation. Barely, but he could. I hid behind my indestructible level 7 counter like it was a bomb shelter. Tables and chairs were getting destroyed left and right. There goes my furniture again, and all I could do was peek over the counter and silently calculate property damage. Why doesn't the system have anything that makes me stronger? I screamed internally. I'd browsed every page of that shop. Thousands of items. Not one that gives the innkeeper combat abilities. I'm in a martial arts world, and I can't even throw a proper punch. I just wanted to be a hero for once. Instead, I'm crouching behind a desk watching my employee do all the work. Pan Shi, to his credit, was brilliant. He stopped trying to beat the elder directly and switched to defense against him. Meanwhile, he went full offense on Feng Zhuang's crew, picking them off one by one like a wolf culling the weak from the herd. The elder was furious but helpless. Every time he tried to help his disciples, Pan Shi dodged him and punched someone else. The old man was being led around by the nose, and he knew it. Once all the disciples were down and groaning, Pan Shi finally turned his full attention to the elder. Without backup, the old man crumbled fast. One palm strike, boom, sent him flying across the room, coughing blood. Pan Shi charged in for the finish. Fist cocked, aimed straight at the elder's face. The old man couldn't move, couldn't dodge, couldn't breathe. Stop, my voice saved his life. Pan Shi's fist froze 3 inches from the elder's nose. The old man's back was completely soaked in sweat. His heart was probably doing drum solos. 1 second later, and he'd have been a corpse. I strolled over with my trademark smile, completely ignoring the blood on the elder's chin. So, would you like to leave? Or would you prefer to stay as guests? We welcome everyone. He stared at me like I was an alien. We just nearly killed him, and now I'm offering room service? When he didn't answer fast enough, I frowned. Not staying? Pan, sure. Throw them out. Wait. We'll stay? We'll stay. Amazing how near-death experiences improve customer conversion rates. Everyone signed the guest book. I learned the grandson's name, Zheng Yuan. The face matched the profile my magical notebook had already built. Jealous creep who framed an innocent man over a girl. Now he was standing in MYN, writing his name in MY book, paying MY prices. And the best part, they brought 3 new faces. 3 fresh experience points. Combined with everyone else, my experience bar hit exactly 30. Ding. And upgraded to level 3. Plus a growth gift pack. I rushed to my room and ripped it open. Congratulations. You receive 1 new employee, 1 breakthrough stone, 1 title, and 1 Martial World Bulletin Board. The new employee? A mid-level absolute peak fighter. That's leagues above Pan Shi's level. I now had a walking nuclear weapon on my payroll. The title? Regional Invincible. While inside my territory, my martial arts level is automatically 2 ranks above the strongest guest present, and I know every fighting technique my guests know. I'm a fighter now? Well, only inside my inn. Step outside, and I'm still a regular guy who hides behind counters. But inside, I'm basically God. The system just turned my inn into my personal power zone. Then came the gut punch. Congratulations on completing the newbie period. From now on, upgrade points require 100 taels of silver per point instead of 1. Excuse me. What? System. Get out here. Why? The previous rate was a newbie bonus. This is the normal rate. Then keep the bonus going. Silence. System? System. Can we negotiate? Hello. Nothing. Dead air. The system ghosted me like a bad date. 100 taels per upgrade point. Previously it was 1 tael. That's 100 times harder. My days of casually upgrading everything in sight were officially over. I just went from feeling rich to feeling broke in the span of 30 seconds. The system giveth, and the system taketh away. Mostly taketh. Okay, the upgrade point situation sucked. But everything else from that gift pack? Chef's kiss. First, new employee. Nieshan. 35 years old. Mid-level absolute peak fighter. That's 2 full levels above Pan Shi. This man walked into my room, bowed, and said, "Greetings, boss," like it was totally normal for a god-tier martial artist to appear out of thin air in a crumbling inn. I went from, Pan Shi barely survived that fight, to, I have a human nuclear warhead on staff, in about 3 seconds. The system's timing is either perfect or it enjoys watching me suffer before delivering the good stuff. Probably both. But the real prize? The title, Regional Invincible. Inside my inn's territory, my power level automatically becomes 2 ranks above the strongest guest present. And I instantly know every fighting technique my guests know. It's not a fixed level, it scales. Right now, the strongest guest is Elder Zheng at late first rate, so I'm currently at early absolute peak. I closed my eyes, felt the energy coursing through my body for the first time ever. Raw, powerful, overwhelming. I am a martial arts master. Well, inside my property line. Step 1 foot outside, and I'm back to being a guy who hides behind furniture during fights. But inside, I could probably flick Elder Zheng into orbit with my pinky. Fine system, I thought. You made upgrade points 100 times harder to earn. But you also made me the most dangerous innkeeper in the world. We're even. For now. Next, the breakthrough stone. Mid-level grade. It can boost an employee's professional rank or martial arts level. Only 1 person qualified, Shui Tao, my cook. I handed it to him. He crushed it in his hand and instantly went from mid-level chef to high-level chef. My cook just got a software update by squeezing a rock. This world is wild. Finally, the Martial World Bulletin Board. I placed it near the inn entrance and checked it out. 10 pieces of current news from across the land. Some sect leader is marrying a woman 37 years younger than him. Another sect is forging a legendary sword. A medicine sect's leader is dying and his successors are fighting for the throne. A government official got fired for corruption. Basically, it's a magical newspaper that updates itself. I don't need to leave my inn to know what's happening everywhere. And eventually, this board could attract curious travelers. Come for the gossip, stay for the dompa pork. That night, nobody came downstairs. Everyone was injured and resting. Both sides of the conflict holed up in their rooms, licking their wounds. I had Pan Shi deliver food to all of them. Even the people who tried to wreck my in 30 minutes ago get room service. That's professionalism. I went to bed early. No TV, no phone, no entertainment. Just darkness and the satisfaction of knowing I could now theoretically punch through a wall. Meanwhile, upstairs in Elder Zheng's room, the bad guys were plotting. I didn't know this at the time, but Feng Zhuang reported that Pan Shi was guarding the staircase. No way to sneak up to the third floor. Zheng Yuan, the spoiled grandson, was ranting about how he'd never let Zhang Yan go. This was never about any stolen manual. This was about a petty, vindictive little brat who couldn't handle rejection. He wanted Zhang Yan dead and Mu Yanlan as his prize. The thought made me sick, and I didn't even know about it yet. Elder Zheng cooked up a plan. Send Feng Zhuang outside to create a distraction, lure Pan Shi away from the stairs, then rush upstairs and grab Zhang Yan personally. His logic? That waiter won't actually kill you. If he wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. He's just bluffing. Not terrible logic, actually. Pan Shi had held back every time. But what Grandpa didn't know was that I now had 2 employees who could destroy him. Plus, I was personally strong enough to fold him like laundry. Go ahead, old man. Make your move. I dare you. Deep in the night, I was sleeping, air quotes, because ever since I became an early absolute peak martial artist, my body doesn't fully shut down anymore. I'm like a computer on standby, eyes closed, but the radar is on. So when Feng Zhuang and his boys started tiptoeing down the stairs like cartoon burglars, I heard every single creaky step. Be quiet, Feng Zhuang hissed. It's the stairs, not me. This wood is ancient. Every step sounds like a dying cat. Wait. Guys, we know martial arts. We can literally jump down. Dead silence. Then collective embarrassment. These trained fighters had been so terrified of Pan Shi that they forgot they could use light body techniques. Pan Shi had traumatized them into acting like regular people. That's the real superpower, making martial artists forget they're martial artists. They jumped down silently, snuck through the lobby, out the front door, and started gathering dry grass and branches around my walls. Their genius plan? Arson. Set the inn on fire. Pan Shi runs out to deal with it. Elder Zheng sneaks upstairs to murder Zhang Yan. Simple. Elegant. Absolutely doomed to fail. I lay in bed, eyes open now, smiling in the dark. Pan Shi knew. Nieshan knew. I knew. 3 of us watching these idiots stack kindling around our walls like it was a surprise party we weren't invited to. Hurry up. Put drywood here. Anyone got a fire starter? I do. After we light it, we hide. Obviously we hide. You think I want that psycho finding me? Wait. Who exactly are we hiding from? A new voice asked casually. One of them answered on autopilot. The waiter, obviously, then froze. That voice didn't belong to any of them. They looked up. Pan Shi was standing on top of the wall, looking down at them like a disappointed father watching his kids draw on the walls with markers. Nice evening for a stroll, Pan Shi said. What are you gentlemen doing out here? Moon gazing. We're admiring the moon. Beautiful moonlight tonight. Pan Shi slowly looked up at the sky. The moon was completely hidden behind clouds. Total darkness. Not a single ray of moonlight anywhere. You're sure about that? He asked. Their faces could have powered a shame reactor. You wouldn't be trying to start a fire, would you? Never. We would never. We're not those kinds of people. Pan Shi smiled, then stopped smiling. Seems like last time's lesson wasn't enough. He dropped off the wall like a shadow and went to work. The screaming that followed could have woken the dead 3 counties over. This time, he wasn't gentle. Bones cracked. Bodies flew. Feng Zhuang ended up on the ground wondering if the plan had at least worked. Surely Pan Shi leaving meant Elder Zheng could get upstairs? You're probably thinking that with me out here, the old man can make his move, Pan Shi said, reading their minds. Their faces went white. What do you mean? Feng Zhuang croaked. Pan Shi just smiled and resumed the beating. Harder this time. The screams upgraded from painful to horror movie soundtrack. And upstairs? Beautiful. Elder Zheng had seen Pan Shi leave and made his move immediately. Rushed up to the 3rd floor. Reached Zhang Yan's door. Was about to break it down when, excuse me, sir. Wrong room. This one isn't yours. A voice. Right behind him. A voice he'd never heard before. Elder Zheng spun around and threw a palm strike on pure instinct. Whoever was behind him dodged it like it was nothing. 0 effort. Like dodging a slow-motion pillow. Who are you? The elder gasped. That was Nieshan. My brand new, Mid-level absolute peak employee. The guy who made Panshir look like a beginner by comparison. Elder Zheng's brain was short-circuiting. This person was stronger than the waiter. Way stronger. He hadn't even sensed Nieshan approach. If Nieshan had wanted to kill him, he'd be dead already and wouldn't even know how it happened. Another top-tier fighter. In this dump of an inn. Just standing in a hallway. I lay in my bed downstairs, feeling the whole thing through my heightened senses, grinning ear to ear. You thought Panshir was my only card? Surprise. I've got a whole deck now. And the dealer, that's me, is also an absolute peak fighter within these walls. Welcome to Cloud. Come in, gentlemen. Check-in is mandatory. Check-out requires surviving. Nieshan handled the situation beautifully. Polite, professional, terrifying. I'm the inn's waiter, he told Elder Zheng with a completely calm face. Another waiter. I could practically hear the old man's brain melting from my room downstairs. One unstoppable waiter was already impossible to accept. Now there were two, and the new one was even stronger? Please return to your room, sir. It's late. Don't disturb the other guests. So polite. So reasonable. So absolutely capable of ending your life. Customer service at its finest. Elder Zheng nodded and started walking toward the stairs. Smart move. Accept defeat, go to bed, live another day. Psych. The old man spun around mid-step and threw a sneak attack palm strike at Nieshan's back. The most hidden, sudden attack he could manage. For one glorious millisecond, he thought he'd won. Nieshan looked completely off guard. Then their palms met. Boom. Elder Zheng felt a tidal wave of energy crash through his body. His internal organs screamed. His blood went haywire. He flew backward, slammed into the second-floor hallway, and coughed up a mouthful of blood. He looked up. Nieshan was walking down the stairs toward him. Calm steps. 0 damage. Not even breathing hard. You? What are you going to do? Elder Zheng gasped, fully expecting payback. Sir, it's very late. You should go back to your room and rest. Still polite. After being sneak attacked twice, Nieshan was still doing the customer service voice. This man's professionalism was either admirable or psychotic. Possibly both. Need help getting up? No. The elder dragged himself to his room, looking over his shoulder every 2 seconds like a scared cat. Nieshan just watched him go. Didn't follow. Didn't threaten. Just stood there radiating. I could destroy you, but I choose peace, energy. Back in his room, Zheng Yuan saw his grandfather stumble and bleeding and nearly had a heart attack. Grandpa? What happened? There's another fighter in this inn, Zheng Kongliang wheezed. Even stronger than the first one. And there might be more. This isn't an inn. It's a death trap. Zheng Yuan's face went through about 6 emotions in 2 seconds. How is that possible? Why would top-tier martial artists work as waiters in a dump? I don't know. Maybe the innkeeper is secretly powerful. No. He's too young. No internal energy. I couldn't sense anything from him. Then, maybe someone powerful is backing him. If he had a powerful backer, why would he be running an inn in the middle of nowhere? Valid point, actually. Nobody with connections lives in this wasteland voluntarily. Well, except me. And that's because a magical system chained me here. But they didn't know that. Then Zheng Yuan, this spoiled, scheming little rat, came up with a plan. The waiters all obey the innkeeper. If we capture him, the waiters have to do what we say. He's just a young, ordinary guy. Grabbing him should be easy. Elder Zheng thought about it and nodded. That actually makes sense. Oh boys. Oh boys. You think I'm the weak link? The defenseless innkeeper you can just grab and use as leverage? The one person in this building who can't fight? Let me remind you of something you don't know. Inside these walls, I am an early absolute peak fighter who knows every single martial arts technique you've ever learned. I could beat your grandfather with his own moves. I am literally the most dangerous person in this building, and you think I'm the easy target. Please, please try it. I am begging you to try it. I've been hiding behind counters and watching other people fight for weeks. I've been crouching, ducking, and running. I finally have powers and nothing would make me happier than one of these idiots trying to grab me, so I can demonstrate exactly how wrong they are. Come get me, Zheng Yuan. I'll be behind my counter. Smiling, Feng Zhuang's crew stumbled back to Elder Zheng's room looking like they'd been through a washing machine full of fists. Every face was swollen. Every body was limping. It was a parade of regret. Then they noticed their elder was also beaten up. Worse than them, actually. Elder, you're hurt too. There's another fighter in this inn. Another one? I know. I didn't believe it either. Half the group immediately wanted to leave. This place is insane. Let's go at sunrise. The inn has more top fighters than our entire sect. They were done. Finished. Cooked. But Zheng Yuan, this cockroach of a human being, refused. We can't leave. Zhang Yin is right here. If he escapes, we'll never find him again. Zheng Shixiao. Maybe just let him go. He already left the sect. He's ruined anyway. And oh, the sect's reputation is at stake. He must die. Sect reputation. Right. Everyone in that room knew this was personal. Zheng Yuan framed Zhang Yin. Couldn't handle that Mu Yanlan chose someone else, and was now on a psychotic revenge mission wrapped in protecting the sect's honor. Nobody was fooled. But nobody was brave enough to say it to the grandson of an elder. Then Elder Zheng backed his grandson up. Zhang Yin must be dealt with. For the sect, that shut everyone up. You can argue with a spoiled brat. You can't argue with the spoiled brat's grandpa who also signs your paychecks. But how? Feng Zhuang whispered. The waiters are unstoppable. We grab the innkeeper, Elder Zheng said. He's the key. The waiters obey him. Control him, control them. That could work? Of course it works. Zheng Yuan puffed up. He's just an ordinary guy? I'll do it myself since you're all cowards. Oh no, please, go ahead. Everyone said instantly, practically shoving him toward the door. None of them wanted to touch anything in this inn anymore. They'd been beaten 3 times. Even the furniture scared them at this point. Next morning, they all came downstairs looking like a hospital ward on legs. Elder Zheng was paper white, being held up by 2 people. I greeted them with my usual sunshine smile. Good morning. Quick reminder, last night was a warning. Next time you break the rules, you're out. Permanently, I said it smiling, which somehow made it worse. Every person in that group felt a chill run down their spine. Understood, Elder Zheng said quietly. It won't happen again. Wonderful. What would you like to eat? Porridge. Amazing how violence simplifies menu decisions. Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan came down too, boldly sitting in the same room as their enemies. The Green Sun guys were fuming, but couldn't do a single thing about it. Zhang Yin was basically eating breakfast in front of the people who wanted to murder him, protected by an invisible force field of rules and terrifying waiters. Zheng Yuan stared at Zhang Yin with pure hatred while chewing his porridge. I could practically see the murder fantasies playing behind his eyes. After breakfast, I went outside for my morning routine, standing at the gate, stretching, staring at the empty wilderness, contemplating whether any new customers would ever appear. Zheng Yuan watched me walk out alone. He noticed Pan Shi and Nieshan stayed inside, watching his grandfather's group. Nobody followed me. I was alone. His eyes lit up like a predator spotting wounded prey. Grandpa, I'm going outside for fresh air, he announced loudly. He walked out, confirmed that neither Pan Shi nor Nieshan had followed, and I could practically feel his excitement radiating off him like heat. This is it, he was thinking. The innkeeper is alone. No bodyguards. Easy target. Oh, sweet summer child. I was standing at my gate, hands behind my back, breathing in the morning air, fully aware of every footstep behind me. My absolute peak senses could hear his heartbeat accelerating from 20 feet away. Come on, Zheng Yuan. Come try to grab the ordinary innkeeper. I've been waiting for this. Nice morning, huh? I said casually to Zheng Yuan, who had sidled up next to me at the gate. Yeah, peaceful out here, he said, doing fake stretches while inching closer. Remote, but nice environment. Nice environment? I looked at the wasteland surrounding us. Weeds, dirt, and emptiness as far as the eye could see. This kid had 0 talent for small talk and 0 talent for subtlety. Then I felt something pointy against my lower back. A dagger. Zheng Yuan had a dagger pressed to my waist, looking extremely pleased with himself. The face of a man who thinks he just checkmate the chess game. Here's the thing. Yesterday, this would have scared me. Even with Pan Shi around, a knife to the kidney is a knife to the kidney. Rescue might come 1 second too late. But today, I'm an early absolute peak martial artist. This kid was holding a butter knife to a dragon and smiling about it. I didn't flinch, didn't blink, just asked, "What are you doing?" Don't panic, innkeeper. Just cooperate. Tell your waiters to stand down, and nobody gets hurt. And if I don't cooperate, then I kill you before they can save you. You're young. You have no connection to Zhang Yin. Why die for a stranger? Fair point, I nodded agreeably. He practically glowed with satisfaction. He marched me inside like he'd captured a king. The reaction from the room was priceless. Feng Zhuang's jaw dropped. You actually did it, obviously, Zheng Yuan preened. You guys are useless. Takes me to get things done. Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan jumped to their feet in shock. Pan Shi and Nieshan just stared, with the weirdest expressions on their faces. Like watching a toddler try to arrest a police officer. Zheng Yuan didn't understand their expressions. He assumed they were frozen with fear for my safety. In reality, they were trying very hard not to laugh. You two, stay out of this. Zheng Yuan waved the dagger at Pan Shi and Nieshan. Or your boss gets it, neither responded. They just kept looking at him with that, oh honey, expression. Zheng Yuan took their silence as compliance and screamed at Feng Zhuang. What are you waiting for? Get Zhang Yin. Feng Zhuang's crew charged. Zhang Yin pushed Mu Yanlan behind him. Run. I'll hold them off. No, I'm staying with you. Mu Yanlan, Zheng Yuan screamed, completely unhinged now. What does he have that I don't? After I kill him, I'll make you regret choosing him. You're not worthy of being compared to him, she spat back. This boy was getting emotionally destroyed while holding a hostage. Impressive multitasking and failure. Kill him, Zheng Yuan shrieked. Feng Zhuang's group rushed forward, and Pan Shi and Nieshan stepped in front of them like two brick walls appearing out of thin air. In about 2 seconds, every single attacker was on the ground screaming. Seems like my warning didn't stick, I said, still perfectly calm with a knife at my back. Tell them to stop. Zheng Yuan shoved the dagger harder. Or you'll what? I asked pleasantly. I'm genuinely curious. And that's when it hit them. The beautiful, horrible realization. Kill me? Then Pan Shi and Nieshan have nothing holding them back. Everyone in this room dies. Release me? They've already committed the hostage crime. I'm not forgiving that. They were trapped. Their brilliant plan was a dead end in every direction. They had captured the one person in this building they thought was powerless, and discovered that my powerlessness was the only thing keeping everyone polite. Zheng Yuan's confident smile was melting off his face like ice cream in summer. Why aren't you scared? He hissed. Because I told you. Nobody hurts my guests. That's the rule. Your knife doesn't change the rule. Attack. Elder Zheng shouted from his chair, making one last desperate gamble. Feng Zhuang's crew, battered and broken, charged again on pure fear of their elder. Pan Shi and Nieshan didn't even hesitate. 2 breaths later, everyone was back on the floor. It happened so fast Zheng Yuan's brain was still processing the previous sentence. And there he stood, holding a dagger to an absolute peak martial artist, surrounded by his unconscious allies, with 2 unstoppable fighters staring at him. Checkmate, kid. But not the way you planned. You're dead, Zheng Yuan screamed, face turning tomato red. The little psycho actually did it. He shoved the dagger forward, aiming straight for my kidney. Full commitment. No hesitation. This kid genuinely tried to murder me over a girl who wouldn't look at him twice. And oh, Elder Zheng screamed from across the room. The old man knew exactly what would happen if I died. Pan Shi and Nieshan would turn everyone in this room into a memory. But his warning came too late. Here's the beautiful part, though. The dagger hit me, and absolutely nothing happened. Well, nothing happened to me. Zheng Yuan's face went from murderous rage to complete confusion in about half a second. His expression was genuinely priceless, like a man who just punched a mountain and realized the mountain didn't care. Then I released my energy. First time ever using my absolute peak power. Internal force erupted from my body like a shockwave. My clothes flapped wildly in the blast. Zheng Yuan went flying backward like a leaf in a hurricane, sailed across the room, and crashed through a wooden table. The table exploded. He hit the ground. Blood came out of his mouth. Then his eyes rolled back, and he passed out cold. Oops. That was more than I intended, I muttered to myself. See, I'd only just gotten these powers. Never used them before. I wanted to give the kid a light push, maybe send him stumbling back a few steps. Instead, I basically detonated a bomb and turned him into a human cannonball. First time martial artist problems. No volume control. Elder Zheng rushed over and scooped up his unconscious grandson. After a quick examination, his face went completely gray. Zheng Yuan had severe internal injuries. Several energy channels were snapped. His martial arts career was over before it started. Honestly, his ability to live a normal life was now questionable. Did I feel bad? Let me think about that. This guy framed an innocent man, tried to steal his girlfriend, chased them across the country, and just attempted to stab me to death. So no, I did not feel bad. The fact that he was still breathing was my gift to him. He should send me a thank you card. Everyone else in the room was frozen solid. Feng Zhuang's crew, already beaten up from Pan Shi and Yeshan's latest round of corrections, stared at me with pure terror. The harmless innkeeper just casually destroyed a martial artist with a pulse of energy. I could see the math happening behind their eyes. Feng Zhuang was thinking, we were going to grab this guy, the hidden master? We were going to hold a knife to the hidden grandmaster of this inn. Several of them looked physically ill with relief that they'd let Zheng Yuan volunteer for the job instead of doing it themselves. You crippled my grandson. Elder Zheng roared at me, face twisted with rage. Sir, your eyes must be broken. He tried to stab me. I defended myself. Also, I warned you multiple times not to cause trouble in my inn. You ignored every warning. This is the result. Be grateful I stopped at one lesson. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out, because everything I said was factually correct, and he knew it. His grandson attacked first. I'd given warnings. They'd ignored them all. The truth was bulletproof. But truth doesn't erase hate. I could see it in his eyes. The logic meant nothing. His only grandson was destroyed. I was now his enemy for life. You'll pay for this, he snarled, gathering Zheng Yuan's limp body in his arms. He turned toward the door, clearly planning to rush back to his sect for medical help. Hold on, I said, stepping in front of him. His face went pale. You're going to kill us? A reasonable fear, given that I'd just revealed myself as a hidden powerhouse who could flick his grandson across a room. But murder wasn't on today's menu. Killing people is illegal. I'm a law-abiding citizen, I said with a straight face. I stopped you because you haven't paid yet. Paid? For breakfast. And for the table your grandson broke when he crash-landed on it. You eat, you pay. You break stuff, you pay. This is a business, not a charity. Elder Zheng looked at me like I'd grown a second head. In his mind, a hidden martial arts master should be above worldly concerns like money. A true reclusive expert would wave his hand and say something profound about material possessions being meaningless. Instead, I was standing here demanding breakfast money while his grandson bled on the floor. How much? He asked, voice hollow. 100 taels. His eyelid twitched so hard I thought it might fly off his face. 100 taels for porridge and a broken table. Even by MY standards, that was aggressive pricing. But honestly, the table repair was expensive, the emotional damages were real, and I deserved a jerk tax for dealing with these people. He reached into his robe and pulled out exactly 100 taels without a word, placed it in my hand. His expression said, I will destroy everything you love, but his wallet said, here you go, sir. I counted it, smiled my brightest customer service smile, and said, perfect. Thank you for your patronage. Safe travels, and please visit again, visit again. I actually said that. To the man whose grandson I just crippled and whose money I just took for overpriced porridge. The audacity was so thick you could cut it with a knife. The same knife his grandson had tried to stab me with, specifically. Zhang Yan and Mu Yanlan watched the whole thing with their mouths hanging open. They'd just witnessed me go from hostage to hidden master to debt collector in about 90 seconds. Welcome to Cloud Come In, where the owner is secretly the most dangerous person in the building. The porridge costs more than your dignity, and checkout includes a complimentary existential crisis. Visit again, I called after them with my biggest smile. Feng Zhuang's crew was mentally screaming, never coming back, so loud I could practically hear it. But Elder Zheng? That old man had a different look in his eyes. I will return with an army. Look, this wasn't about Zhang Yin anymore. This was personal now. His grandson was crippled, his pride was shattered, and he blamed me for all of it. Fine. When he comes back, he'll bring stronger fighters, which means my regional invincible title will scale me up higher. More enemies equals more power equals more customers. The math works beautifully. Zhang Yan and Mu Yanlan rushed over the second the Green Sun crew left. Thank you, innkeeper. You saved us. They were bowing so deep they nearly touched the floor. In their minds, I was a legendary hidden master who'd been pretending to be a humble innkeeper this whole time. The mysterious recluse who chose to live in the wilderness not because he was stuck, but because worldly matters were beneath him. If only they knew the truth. I'm literally chained here by a system, and 5 minutes ago was the first time I'd ever punched anyone in this body. Speaking of which, I had a problem. The moment Elder Zhang's group walked out, my power level plummeted. See, my regional invincible title scales based on the strongest guest present. With Elder Zhang gone, my strongest guest was now Zhang Yan, a measly second-rate beginner, which meant I dropped from early absolute peak to late second-rate. The fall was nauseating. 1 minute, I could feel the universe vibrating in my bones. Next minute, I could barely feel my own toes. It was like going from driving a sports car to riding a tricycle. The emptiness was physically uncomfortable. I didn't even get to enjoy being powerful. I complained internally. I used my abilities exactly once, and it was an accident. But I kept my composure, smiled at the grateful couple, and delivered my standard line. No need to thank me. Protecting guests is our policy. Stay as long as you need. Translation: please don't leave. You're my only source of income right now. Thankfully, both of them still had injuries to heal. They weren't going anywhere for a while. They went upstairs to rest, and I wandered over to the Martial World bulletin board. New day, new gossip. 10 fresh stories. One caught my attention. Something about a sword sect leader marrying a young woman whose brother had a guy named Gao Lo. Sounded like random celebrity news to me. I had no idea this was actually a massive scandal involving a destroyed sect, a murdered prodigy, and a revenge plot disguised as a wedding. The bulletin board was feeding me explosive intelligence, and I was reading it like a bored person scrolling social media. Someday I'll look back at these early days and realize I was sitting on dynamite while eating porridge. But today it was just entertainment. After finishing my morning news, boredom hit me like a truck. I'd been in this world for weeks and never once left my inn. Never seen a city. Never walked a street. Never experienced what life was actually like here. The curiosity was eating me alive. That's it. I'm going to town. I made arrangements fast. Pan Shi would come with me as my guide and bodyguard. Nie Shan would stay behind to guard the inn, watch over Zhang Yin and Mu Yanlan, and handle any new guests. Why did I need a bodyguard? Because outside my inn's territory, my regional invincible title is useless. One step past my property line, and I'm back to being a regular guy who can't fight a strong breeze. In a world where martial artists can jump over buildings and sword-wielding maniacs roam the countryside, walking around unprotected is basically suicide with extra steps. We set off on foot. No horses. Mine doesn't have any, and I'd never bought one. Within 20 minutes, I deeply regretted this decision. The road was rough, overgrown, and endless. Pan Shi strolled along like he was taking a casual walk in a park. Meanwhile, I was sweating, panting, and questioning every life choice that led me to this moment. First thing we do in town, I gasped between breaths, is buy a horse. I am never walking this again. Pan Shi, who could probably run this distance in 10 minutes without breaking a sweat, politely pretended not to notice his boss dying beside him. Good employee. We arrived at Songyang County around noon. I stood at the gate and looked up at my first ancient Chinese city. It was underwhelming. The walls were maybe 15 feet high, covered in patches where the plaster had fallen off. The gate was wide enough for 2 carts side by side. A few bored soldiers stood guard, barely glancing at the people walking through, occasionally chatting with each other about whatever bored soldiers chat about. Above the gate, 2 characters were carved into the stone, Songyang. My first impression? This place looked like it needed renovations more than mine did. And that's saying something. But once I walked through the gate, everything changed. Inside was alive. A main street stretched ahead, packed with people going every direction. Vendors lined both sides, shouting about their goods, waving products in the air. Food stalls, fabric shops, medicine sellers, tool merchants, all crammed together in a noisy, colorful, wonderful mess. This was what I'd been missing. Real people, real life, real civilization. After weeks of staring at empty wilderness from my doorstep, this ordinary little county town felt like New York City. I stood there taking it all in, breathing in the smells of street food and fresh goods, listening to the chaos of commerce, and for the first time since transmigrating, I felt like I was actually part of this world instead of just surviving in it. Now I just needed to figure out how to make all these people travel 20 miles down a hidden dirt road to eat overpriced porridge at my haunted-looking inn. Easy, right? First time in a real city since transmigrating. I stood at Songyang County's gate like a tourist from another dimension, which, technically, I was. The streets were packed with vendors shouting about vegetables, meat sellers waving cuts in the air, people bustling in every direction. Nothing fancy by modern standards. But after weeks of staring at empty wilderness and talking to my employees, this ordinary little town felt like Las Vegas. Pan guided me through the crowds. I was gawking at everything like a 5-year-old at a carnival. Cabbages? Fascinating. Guy selling rope? Incredible. Woman carrying chickens? Life-changing. The locals probably thought I was insane, but I genuinely hadn't seen another human settlement since arriving in this world. Boss, the Hanyun Inn is up ahead. Biggest inn in Sanyang County, Pan whispered. Before we left, I told him I wanted to scope out the competition. I'm an innkeeper. Of course I need to see what other inns look like. Know your enemy, as they say. Or in my case, know your vastly more normal-looking rivals. We walked in and immediately got the VIP greeting. Welcome. Eating or staying? Eating first, I said. But I'd like to see your rooms too. If they're good enough, maybe I'll stay. The waiter sat us down at a nice table. Clean floors. Solid stairs that didn't scream when you stepped on them. Walls without mysterious stains. Already beating my inn in every visible category. Bring us all your signature dishes, I said, not even looking at the menu. Everything you've got. The waiter's eye sparkled. Big spender alert. He practically skipped to the kitchen. While we waited, I leaned toward Pan. What do you think of this place? Not as good as ours, he said without hesitation. I looked around at the clean, well-maintained, non-haunted-looking establishment we were sitting in. You're just kissing up to me. He wasn't wrong about the important stuff, though. This inn looked better, sure. But my inn had magical recovery rooms, system-boosted cooking, and beds that could cure exhaustion overnight. Surface-level beauty versus invisible superpowers. If customers could see stats floating above the rooms like a video game, my inn would win every time. Problem is, they can't. They just see a crumbling shack and run away screaming. The food arrived. I grabbed my chopsticks with genuine excitement. This was the biggest inn in the county. Their signature dishes had to be impressive, right? I took one bite. I spat it directly onto the table. What I asked this? This is a signature dish. My leftovers taste better than this. The flavor was flat, the texture was wrong, and the seasoning was apparently done by someone who'd only heard about spices through rumors. This was supposed to be the best food in Sanyang County. My cook Xue Tao could make a better meal blindfolded using only a cabbage and disappointment. Pan was quietly eating everything without complaint. The man would eat a shoe if you put sauce on it. You think it's good? I asked him. It's average. But I don't like wasting food. Xue Tao's cooking is much better. At least he was honest. My taste buds had been absolutely ruined by Xue Tao's level 6 kitchen masterpieces. Normal food now tasted like cardboard to me. I'd become a food snob by accident, corrupted by my own system upgrades. I barely touched the rest. Pan cleaned every plate like a vacuum cleaner with martial arts training. Martial artists eat like they're storing food for winter. Every meal is a full contact sport. After lunch, I asked to see their best room. The waiter proudly led us upstairs. This is our premium suite. I looked around for about 3 seconds. It was worse than my medium rooms. Not my premium rooms, my medium ones. The furniture was basic, the bed was ordinary, and there was zero magical anything. No healing properties, no energy recovery, no enhanced sleep quality. Just a room, with a bed, and a table. That was the whole experience. Not impressed? The waiter noticed my expression. It's okay, I said diplomatically, which in innkeeper language means, I've seen better in my own building that looks like it survived a war. Sir, this is the finest inn in all of Sanyang County. You won't find better anywhere in this entire city. The waiter was practically puffing out his chest. Time to do some market research. I put on my most casual face. Really? Because I heard there's an inn outside the city called Cloud Come In. Supposedly very comfortable rooms and amazing food. The waiter's reaction surprised me. Cloud Come In? Oh, I know that place. He knew about my inn? I'd barely had any customers. How was my reputation already spreading? You've heard of it? I tried to hide my excitement. Of course. I've worked here 12 years. I know every inn in the area. Cloud Come In is that old place way outside the city. He leaned in conspiratorially. Word is, the owner of that inn is a rebel. A rebel? Me? I nearly choked on air. I'm many things, a scam artist, an overcharger, a guy who chases strangers down dirt roads. But a rebel? Against what? The only thing I've rebelled against is reasonable pricing. I kept my face perfectly neutral while my brain was doing backflips. Where did that rumor come from? Was it because both counties refused to manage my area? Was it because I harbored people being chased by martial arts sects? Or was it simply because Mayan existed in a lawless no-man's land and people assumed the worst? Whatever the reason, this was potentially catastrophic. If the government thought I was a rebel, they might send soldiers. If they sent soldiers, I'd have to feed them. And if I had to feed them at my prices, they'd definitely think I was rebelling against the economy. I smiled calmly at the waiter while internally screaming, "A rebel? That's quite the rumor. Where did you hear that?" This little scouting trip to check out the competition had suddenly turned into a reputation crisis investigation. I came here to judge their porridge and instead discovered that the entire county thinks I'm a political criminal. Just another normal day in the life of the world's most misunderstood innkeeper. A rebel? I nearly choked on my own spit. Panshur and I exchanged alarmed glances. When did I become a political criminal? I overcharge people for porridge. That's not treason, that's capitalism. The waiter continued his story enthusiastically, completely unaware he was talking to the alleged rebel successor. Turns out, the previous owner of Cloud Come Inn was a descendant of the former dynasty's royal family. He'd built the inn as a secret base to gather loyalists and plot a rebellion. 3 years ago, the government found out, sent soldiers, surrounded the place, and killed the owner plus most of his followers. Blood everywhere. The inn was abandoned afterward, and nobody even dared walk past it, let alone stay there. "So where did you hear the food was good?" the waiter asked suspiciously. "Someone's pulling your leg. Our inn is the best around here. Period." Oh, he wasn't calling me a rebel. He was talking about the dead guy who owned my inn before me. The inn I inherited from the system. The inn built on literally blood-soaked ground. "There's a new owner now, apparently," I said carefully. "Running it pretty well, I hear." "Someone actually took over that place?" The waiter looked horrified. "Aren't they scared of ghosts? Tons of people died there." "He's probably not afraid," I said, with absolutely zero confidence. Before today, I didn't know any of this. I'd been sleeping peacefully in that inn every night. Now I was learning that my bedroom was basically a former massacre site. "Thanks for that, random waiter. Really appreciate it." After leaving the inn, I immediately turned to Panshur. "You haven't noticed anything unusual at the inn, right? Strange sounds? Cold spots? Floating objects?" Before transmigrating, I would have laughed at ghost stories. But I'd literally traveled across dimensions into a martial arts fantasy world. If that was possible, haunted inns weren't exactly off the table. "Nothing unusual," Panshur said calmly. I exhaled with massive relief. "Right. Martial arts world. No ghosts. Just swords and punching. Totally normal. Nothing supernatural whatsoever. I'm fine." I was not fine. But I'd deal with that crisis later. Next stop, the best restaurant in town. The Tianxiang restaurant. Same plan. Order all their signature dishes and judge them mercilessly. 4 special dishes arrived at our table, looking reasonably impressive. I picked up my chopsticks with cautious optimism. Disappointment. Again. The food wasn't terrible by normal standards, but compared to Shuetao's cooking, it was like comparing a campfire to the sun. My newly upgraded high-level chef had completely destroyed my ability to enjoy regular food. I'd become a culinary snob trapped in a world where the best restaurant in town couldn't even match my inn's free porridge. "Is every cook in this world this bad?" I muttered. "Songyang County is small," Panshur said diplomatically. "Population under 100,000. Good chefs go to bigger cities." Fair point. But I was confident that even big city chefs couldn't touch Shuetao. Especially post-breakthrough stone Shuetao. That man's cooking skills had been directly downloaded from a magical rock. No culinary school on Earth, or in this world, could compete with that. While we ate, something interesting happened at the restaurant entrance. The owner personally rushed to greet a young man in fancy silk robes. "Young Master Zhao? Your private room is ready." The kid walked in with his nose in the air like he owned the building. Full rich kid energy. At the table next to us, some locals started gossiping, and my ears perked up like a hunting dog catching a scent. "That Zhao kid has it made. 3 generations of only sons, rich father, uncle who's a government official. The Zhao family is the biggest in Songyang County. That boy gets whatever he wants." "Sure, but even he's scared lately." "Scared of what? You didn't hear?" There's a dangerous bandit in the area. Kidnaps rich kids for ransom. There's even a wanted poster at the city gate. No wonder he's got bodyguards now. That bandit hasn't hit Sonyang County yet, but he's done plenty of damage elsewhere. My brain immediately connected the dots to something I'd read on my Martial World bulletin board that morning. A bandit named Liang Juanxiong had entered Sonyang County, and the local magistrate had posted a bounty for his capture. At the time, I dismissed it as random news. Now it was suddenly relevant and happening in real time around me. My bulletin board wasn't just gossip, it was actionable intelligence. I filed this away under things to pay more attention to and kept eating. Not my problem, though. I'm an innkeeper, not a bounty hunter. Let the authorities handle their bandit. I had porridge to sell. After lunch, I checked the bills from both places. The fancy and signature dishes, 2 taels total. Their best room, 50 copper coins per night. The restaurants for specials, 3.5 taels. Meanwhile, at MYN, 1 dish costs 3 taels minimum. Rooms start at 5 silver taels per night. I was charging roughly 100 times more than the local competition for a building that looked 100 times worse. Compared to these places, I admitted quietly, mine really is a scam operation. But was I going to change my prices? Absolutely not. The system wouldn't let me even if I wanted to. And honestly, my food was genuinely better. My rooms actually healed people. The value was there. It was just invisible to anyone who hadn't experienced it yet. My marketing problem wasn't the product. It was the packaging. And by packaging, I mean the crumbling walls, spiderweb decorations, and ghost murder backstory I'd just learned about. Last errand, buying a horse. After walking 20 miles on foot, I'd rather fight another elder than do that again. Panshur directed me to the horse market. It was empty. Completely, totally, devastatingly empty. Where are the horses? I asked a passerby. Horse market doesn't have stock every day. You need luck. Plus you should come in the morning. It's afternoon. Anything good is long gone. Of course. Of course. I walked 20 miles, destroyed my legs, and arrived too late to buy the thing that would prevent me from destroying my legs again. The universe was laughing at me. Guess I'll have to buy one from the system shop, I sighed. Which meant spending precious wealth points on a horse instead of something useful. The system really had me trapped. Overcharge for everything, underspend on nothing, and walk home on feet that were filing a formal complaint with my brain. Some days, being the world's most powerful innkeeper still meant limping home like a regular idiot. The system shop had horses for sale, also carriages. But everything was expensive because of course it was. The system's pricing philosophy was simple. If you need it, we'll overcharge for it. I preferred buying in the real world to save wealth points. But Sonyang County's horse market was a joke. Empty shelves, terrible selection, and you needed to arrive at dawn and fight other buyers for some ancient, bony horse that looked like it had given up on life 3 years ago. Bigger cities had better options, but were too far away to justify the trip just for one horse. So I caved and bought from the system. 100 wealth points for an upper-grade horse. It materialized like everything else the system produces. Out of thin air, no questions asked. At least it was a good-looking horse. Strong legs, healthy coat, bright eyes. Worth the points, even if my wallet was crying. Before leaving Sonyang County, I stopped at the city gate to check the wanted posters. Sure enough, there was the bandit from my bulletin board, Liang Juanxiong. The drawing showed a man with a full beard, angry eyes, and a face that screamed, "I will rob you and enjoy it." Very on-brand for a wanted criminal. The regular citizens walked past the posters without a second glance. Not their problem. Fair enough. Let's go, I said, and attempted to mount my new horse. Keyword, attempted. I'd never ridden a horse in my life. Panshur had to literally boost me onto the thing like a parent helping a toddler onto a carousel animal. Once up there, I grabbed the reins with both hands and held on like my life depended on it. Which it kind of did. I kept the horse at the slowest possible walk. No trotting. Definitely no galloping. Just a gentle, embarrassing shuffle that was barely faster than walking. Panshur jogged alongside on foot, not even breaking a sweat. A peak first-rate martial artist serving as my running escort while I sat on a horse moving at grandma's speed. We were quite the pair. Still, at least my legs weren't dying anymore. Small victories. We got back to the inn after dark. Nieshan greeted me with his usual bow. "Any guests check in?" I asked hopefully. "No. Anyone come for food?" Also no. Disappointing but expected. My inn without guests was like a restaurant without food, the default state. At least Zhang Yan and Mu Yanlan were still upstairs. 2 paying customers was better than 0. I ordered Shui Tao to cook dinner. He whipped up 3 dishes and a soup in minutes. The second I tasted his food, all the frustration from today's culinary tour evaporated. This was real cooking. That fancy inn and restaurant in Sanyang County had served me what I could only describe as edible disappointment. Shui Tao's worst dish was still 10 levels above their best. My taste buds had been permanently ruined by system-enhanced cooking, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. After dinner, I crashed hard, learning that my inn was built on a former massacre site. Walking 20 miles and failing to buy a horse had taken everything out of me. Next morning, Zhang Yan and Mu Yanlan came downstairs with packed bags. Leaving, my heart sank a little. Our injuries are mostly healed. Time to go, Zhang Yan said. Thank you for everything. Really, thank you, Mu Yanlan added with genuine warmth. Without you, we'd be. She didn't finish. She didn't need to. Without me, they'd be dead or worse. Zhang Yan, the same guy who'd complained about my prices and questioned my credibility, now looked at me with pure gratitude. Amazing what saving someone's life does for customer relations. I understood why they had to leave. Elder Zheng might come back with reinforcements. They couldn't hide in my inn forever. And let's be real, at my prices, their savings would evaporate faster than morning dew. They were probably terrified that once they ran out of money, my guest protection policy would develop some convenient fine print. It wouldn't, but I understood the fear. Safe travels, I said, watching them disappear down the narrow dirt road. And just like that, my inn was completely empty again. 0 guests, 0 income, 0 human interaction besides my 3 employees who were contractually obligated to be nice to me. Panis Hi, yes, boss, teach me to ride a horse. Nothing else to do, might as well learn. In a world without cars, motorcycles, or even bicycles, horseback riding was essential. My inn sat on a narrow path that couldn't fit a carriage, so riding was my only real transportation option. Time to stop being the only innkeeper in the martial arts world who couldn't travel faster than walking speed. We cleared a patch of the wasteland near the inn. Not hard when the entire landscape was already wasteland, and I spent the entire morning bouncing around on my new horse like a sack of potatoes with ambitions. Riding a horse looks easy. In movies, people just hop on and gallop majestically into the sunset. In reality, everything hurts immediately. My thighs burned. My back ached. My butt developed feelings, specifically feelings of betrayal and anger. At lunch, I took a break to eat and check the bulletin board. One headline grabbed me immediately. The bandit Liang Juanxiong had broken into the Zhao family mansion in Sanyang County last night and kidnapped their young master, Zhao Dongming. Already? That was the same rich kid I'd seen at the restaurant yesterday. The one with bodyguards who walked around like he owned the county. Kidnapped overnight. The bandit moved fast. But Sanyang County was 20 miles away. Not my problem. I wasn't rich. My inn looked like a haunted ruin, and no self-respecting kidnapper would target an innkeeper whose entire customer base could fit in a small closet. After lunch, more riding practice. By evening, my entire lower body had filed for divorce from the rest of me. My butt felt like it had been personally attacked by the horse. I would have killed for a massage, but my staff consisted of 2 fighters and a chef, none of whom offered spa services. That's enough for today, I groaned, sliding off the horse like melting butter. Then I saw them. 2 figures, walking toward my inn from the distance. Every ache vanished instantly. My butt forgave me. My back straightened. My eyes locked onto those approaching silhouettes like a hawk spotting prey. Customers. 2 figures walking toward my inn at dusk. My customer radar went to full alert. Evening, friends. Getting dark out there. How about staying the night? One of them looked up at my inn and said something that made my ears perk up. This place is open again. Again. That word told me everything. This guy knew about my inn's history. The dead rebel owner, the government raid, the bloodbath. Maybe he'd even stayed here before, back when the previous management was plotting treason instead of serving overpriced porridge. You run this place? He studied my face. Something about him felt familiar too, but I couldn't place it. Sure do. Want a room? He hesitated, then nodded. Fine. One night. His companion stayed silent the entire time.